on the RC page and YouTube, and we are live. And here we are coming to you live from the Republican Candidate Resource Center of Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm here with my good buddy Hunter Tarrant, who's helped many campaigns, including my own, in the last couple of cycles. Well, welcome, Hunter.
Thank you
Good
so
to
much.
see you. And of course, Bishop J. Antoine Minor. Good to see you. So as we're kind of collecting, waiting for people to pop on and see us, I got some interesting information that just came across the desk.
Did you now?
Yeah, I mean, these losers from the Cumberland County GOP, the people that are on the board that can't answer simple questions about where's our money, why do we not have meetings? But tonight is the first official live stream of Venus and Callista defending the truth. You know,
they had opportunity to defend the truth at the meeting the other day.
That's absolutely right. We're going to get into that, but I just want to finish reading this because I mean, if I was a TV writer, I couldn't have written some of this stuff. And God bless them, bless their hearts. Join us as we break down why we started the podcast, which is not a podcast; it's a snuff film. But we'll digress. What you can expect moving forward, the topics, the fire, and the accountability nobody else is bringing, which they can bring the receipts. And of course, a little side note about Peter Pappas, because somehow it's always Peter Pappas. You're goddamn right it is. God bless you. And at least you spelled my name right. So anyway, you're damn right it's Peter Pappas. It has been, and I live rent-free in their heads, and I love you, and God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing. But you're still losers every day and twice on Sunday. But where'd my bishop go? Why'd he leave me?
He took the quick trip back to New York, where he's from.
Goodness, he really did, man. He's really, oh, Bishop. Oh, there he is. Good Lord. See, now you're making me look bad, Bishop.
Trying to connect over to my Facebook. So
okay.
Go live from my Facebook, and this.
Well, go to the RC. If you go to the RC page, you can share it back to your page. If you just find the resource center, then you can just share it back. But,
okay.
Yeah, you got me in the middle of my firing up.
I'm gonna try this.
We got one viewer on. Please post a comment if you're joining us live. Say hi. Don't be shy.
Say hi. You rhyming, Peter. Say hi. Don't be shy.
Say hi. Don't be shy. I'm trying to be like my brother. So let's talk about what's happened So all jokes aside, as Republicans, we're supposed to come together. You see what we all doing. Okay. We got Shamika in the house tonight. So
snap.
You see, we got Miss Sharon Conley about to join us. We're going to bring Miss Sharon into this. So good evening, Miss Sharon.
Welcome. Great evening. Good
evening. It's so good to see you. I feel like we don't see each other as much anymore. So you just missed me dropping a couple of bombs, but I went ahead and introduced that some of the brain trust on the Cumberland County GOP is trying to have their own little podcast. So I do want to clear something out. The broadcast you're seeing here tonight is brought to you by Peter Pappas Incorporated, a fully vested North Carolina corporation right here. This is the corporation, see, the body, the corporate. But furthermore, this has nothing to do with my radio program, which is a real radio program on 2 FM stations on Sunday mornings called the Carolina Cabinet, that is not owned by anybody. It's my show, and it also goes out as a podcast. So I just want to clear up what a radio program is versus a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I digress.
Teach the lesson, sir. Teach the lesson.
So we had a joint men's club and women's club meeting on Tuesday night at Scrub Oaks for the Cumberland County GOP. And how do you think that went, Bishop?
You want the truth, or which truth do you want? You want
I want you to lie to me. What do you think?
It was horrible.
Horrible.
It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible because there was I don't like scripted meetings where the questions are kind of predetermined and scripted, and one side is not is not required to answer the questions. And we got a lot of that at that meeting, a lot of one-sidedness. I'm trying to be politically correct, but it's not going to work but for about another good 3 minutes.
I don't think that's your strong suit, my friend. But
It's not.
It's
not.
So basically, it was pre-scripted. Look, I commented on a Facebook post that said, the meeting broke down and it was lack of decorum and things of that nature. But do you think that the people from the current slate should have been allowed to speak at all?
I think the members from the current slate, known as Team Cumberland, I think they should have showed up. I mean,
Right.
You can't answer questions if you're not there. They didn't show up. They sent 2 representatives, Venus de la Cruz and former Democrat Juanita. I don't know her name. Juanita Applebone. You gotta get me on.
Juanita Gonzalez.
Juanita Gonzalez. They sent them 2, and claimed that Nina Morton, the current chair, had a more important engagement.
Yeah. More important than speaking to Republicans of the county that took time out of their weeks to have dinner in a place that probably wasn't central to everybody, but they did you a favor by appearing and giving us their presence, and then not even being able to answer questions and look, I'm not going to vote for the current board to be reelected because they simply don't have what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's mentally or ability or whatever else, they just don't have, especially temperament. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit. If you notice our videos, I think this is the most outspoken and most fired up I've been out of the over 2 or 3 hours I've posted already. Because we're stating fact. We're talking about, hey, this happened. Where's the receipt? Whatever. And these folks are emotionally unspooled.
Yeah.
They cannot conduct themselves in a manner which is required when you are the steward of other people's money in this county. So, what did we get any information? Like, as Republicans, were we given any? Did we learn anything from the meeting on Tuesday?
Yes, we did. We learned a lot. We learned that our claims that they are inept are factual, and and here's the thing. You said it at the beginning of the live. You said it, that we are Republicans. We the goal is to get along, to work together, but you can't get along with or work together with individuals who attempt to continuously skirt the system, who want to continuously skirt the truth. They claim, they're doing their podcast, but they want to tell the truth. They had an opportunity to address and tell the truth the other night, but the chair chose. She had no previous engagement. That's a lie. I have very good information on the fact that she did not have a previous engagement. So that's a bold-faced lie. I don't like being lied to. I can't stand it. I can deal with you if you just say, you know what, I didn't feel like coming because I didn't want to deal with the nonsense. I'll deal with it on Saturday at convention. But to lie and then send your 2 deputy liars to lie on your behalf is where I seriously have a problem. You just be honest. You didn't think that we were important enough to show up and answer tough questions. And if that's the case, you should not be in a position of leadership. And so, I mean, the only other thing I learned was who their daughter was, because I didn't know who she was until she started yelling at me, telling me to shut up. And that wasn't good. That wasn't a good idea at all, because I don't put my hands on a female. I'm not going to call you out of your name. But what you're not going to do is disrespect me and think I'm just going to sit there because I'm such a gentleman and let you disrespect me. My mama raised me to be a man, but she didn't raise me to be a doormat. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. You're going to stay in your place. And the minute you get out of your place, I have no problem redirecting you to where your place is. Point blank, period. And I'm not talking about as a woman. I'm talking about as anybody. When you come at me sideways, male or female, or if you call yourself in between decisions,
right?
If you come at me sideways, I'm going to check you and let you know, sit down before I turn you every which way but loose. And when I say that, I ain't talking about putting my hands on you. No, right. But my mouth is enough to sit you down and shut you up. Because I tell you what, after that altercation, she ain't said nothing else for the rest of the night.
That's right.
Until she addressed Susan Mills on the fine issue. But I bet she calmed that yelling down, because like I said, I will turn you every which way but loose. Her daddy was standing there. He didn't have nothing to say. Because I tell you what, if it was my daughter, I'd have came over like, hey.
If it was my daughter, I would have been in your face, Bishop.
Exactly. He ain't said nothing because he knew he was about to get turned every which way but loose. And although I will not physically touch her, he would have got these New York City hands. Now that's the fact, Jack.
He's fair game, and he hides behind the females of his family. I mean, does. Between his wife and his daughter, they do the speaking for him because, frankly, he doesn't have what it takes.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He just.
I've said it before, and so again, he doesn't even really factor in any of this because Mr. De La Cruz is not running for a slate position.
He planned on running for mayor. He planned on running for mayor. So at this point, he fair game. At this point, he fair game. Some of the stuff that they do and say, nah.
Communicating threats to other board members, things of this nature.
That's behavior unbecoming of someone looking a hole in office.
Absolutely. Well, and look, the voters decided twice. They don't want him. They decided they don't want him for state house position. Yes, I ran for city council and county commissioner and lost. But I took.
But you ran because you actually wanted to hold a seat and work in the community. Absolutely. Freddie De La Cruz is running because the GOP keep just sticking people into races just to have somebody to run. Like nobody. Listen. I want y'all to hear me clearly. I'm gonna get a little closer to my mic so you hear me clearly. Ain't nobody want Freddie De La Cruz as the mayor. And I'm not saying that because I don't have any intentions of running for anything.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, if Freddie De La Cruz was to ever get elected to anything, whatever he got elected to would quickly decline. He would tear this city up. When me and him ran against each other, his whole platform was turning Fayetteville into a police state and having MPs patrol downtown. Like, where are we at?
Yeah. Well, and again, look, he has experience in the military. He's an MP background. And again, this is not the
I got an MP background. I wasn't an MP commander, but I served as an MP for almost 2 years. So what?
Well, I have got ribbons. Freddie, I'm just going to say this about Freddie. He has been on the Carolina cabinet. He's been a guest a couple times. I think I posted it for over 70 episodes now. There was a point where I asked him directly. I said, "Look, you realize Fayetteville's not a garrison, right?" And that was kind of my issue with him over the years. Is everything with him boils down to a military rubric, and there are people here that did not serve or don't understand that. I mean, it's a military town, but you have to represent all people. And I basically asked him these questions because I'm trying to glean, do you understand that the Army is in the past for you? Going forward, what are you going to do for the community, and how can you accomplish that? So that being said, this isn't a bash on Freddie because he's not worth my time or effort. He's what he is. But I asked Miss Sharon to join us tonight. She went and put her face on for me and all. I gotta love Miss Sharon. She's one of my favorite people.
Miss Sharon.
But let me unmute her here. So basically there's been some allegations. Okay. First of all, calling some of these things allegations is laughable. You're dealing with folks that are levying from the cheap seats, just sending out and trying to see what they can make stick or insult somebody. First of all, I'm the number one. I'm the best. I will best you all with that. Maybe Bishop can beat me in that regard. But one thing that bothered me was when they try to accuse and tarnish the reputation of our Cumberland County women's clubs, both the Cumberland County Republican Women's Club and the Fayetteville Republican Women's Club, because here at the Resource Center behind me, there's all kinds of merchandise that's owned by each club. So when people would come in here and purchase things, the clubs took the money and also did so Sharon, tell me how it works. If they walked in and bought something from the CCRWC, who were they pay? How did that work? Who did they pay and what records did you keep?
Yes. With all transactions, when you make a purchase there, that is going through Cumberland County Republicans Women's Club. It has absolutely nothing to do with the RC. Anytime that account moves, I, as the treasurer, I need a first name, last name, telephone number, address, a job title, and your position. So all things are being documented whenever you make a purchase there. And I would go even further that all things have been reported to the Board of Elections, and we are in good standing.
Okay, so pretty clear. So, and I think earlier we spoke that your hands was tired having to keep up with all those, because basically if I bought a $20 hat, I had to fill out my name, rank, and serial number, and you had to then put that information into the report that's available for anybody to look at the State Board of Elections.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So anybody tell me again how people were misled, that even though the receipt said the Republican or Cumberland Women's Club, how's anybody misled?
I was so disappointed when Venus sat there and said they intentionally sent Freddie to the RC to purchase a hat.
Yeah.
And he came there with ill intentions to look to see where the money was going. Now, when he was given a receipt, because I have it set up that anybody that purchased anything, you can choose either way. You can get your receipt by email, or you can get your receipt by text message.
Right.
At the bottom of the receipt, it said Cumberland County Republicans Women's Club.
Okay.
So where is it that we're paying you for anything?
Exactly. And, I don't think, hey, so Bishop, when you was an MP, was espionage part of your bailiwick? Like, did they teach you how to be a 007 ninja?
Nope. And obviously they didn't teach him either. Because that's not what MPs do. When I served in the MP battalion in New York, I served on the Command and General Security Detail. So they ain't teach us none of that. We ain't MI6, we ain't CIA.
Well, according to Mr. De La Cruz, alphabet soup. He had ABC, XYZ, SCI, this, and this, and that clearance. Should I be intimidated by any of that?
Absolutely not. I mean, an MP is an MP. He was an MP from what he said. I'm not going to look at his 214.
I don't think he showed anybody his 214. So
yeah, but he we definitely don't want no stolen valor. But if he was an MP, he said he was in charge of an MP battalion while he was deployed. First of all, MPs, when they're deployed, they ain't really doing too much of nothing. MPs, when they're deployed, number one, they ain't walking nowhere. They driving everywhere. And then the ones that ain't driving is stuck at the MP station, either at a gate or at a detention facility or somewhere else. They're not combat soldiers. They're law enforcement. They that's what they do. That's it. I mean, Duh. I mean,
Yeah.
we see them on Fort Bragg all the time. I mean, listen, no, and seriously, I respect Freddie's service to this country. I respect his service to this country. More power to him. I respect the fact that, that he served this country, and he served this country apparently with honors. He was, honorably retired and things like that. But that does not dismiss stupid. It just doesn't. It doesn't dismiss stupid. And I saw on one of his videos where he's saying, I'm not stupid. Well, then you putting on a really good act, sir. You're putting on a really good act. And if I was an MP, if I was assigned to his MP battalion, I would have told him like I told a senior NCO that tried to rip into me. I said, Sergeant, the Army says that I have to respect the rank that is on your chest, but it did not say I had to respect the man wearing the rank. And so with all due respect, Sergeant, I have no respect for you. So I say the same thing to Freddie. I respect the rank that was on your chest, but I have no respect for the man that wore the rank, because your behavior is that is unbecoming an officer. If since you want to continuously tout your military status, even though you're a civilian now, you're retired, but you're a civilian now. But since you want to keep bringing up the fact that you're in the military, you are conduct unbecoming. And if you were still on active duty, you would be combat ineffective, period. So let's stop beating our chests. I got ribbons on. Probably ain't got as much as you. Definitely don't. I was just a little E5. I was a little guy. And I was good with it. But I served with great great honor, and I mean, listen.
You don't have anything to be ashamed of in your service.
Nothing. You served this country. Great.
So Bishop, I came to know you through coming on the radio with me and Nat Robertson and Jimmy Henley and who else? I think that was it. And Pastor Josh as well. But the thing is, I didn't know you was a soldier until several meetings in with you. And I think, that's, the biggest distinction with you and other veterans versus somebody like Mr. De La Cruz. You've moved on, you've created, you've been in the community, you've served, you've lived your life, you've continued, and some people like Mr. De La Cruz are reliving their glory years.
Yeah, they're stuck in
kind of like the Al Bundy, the senior year, the football track star guy. That was the best thing he accomplished. Surely he's done more, but
yeah, they got a whole business over on Bragg Boulevard. I know he does more in the community, but and again, it is a very telling thing what Miss Sharon just said. She said that Venus stated that they sent Freddie to the RC to purchase a hat to find out where the money's going. Key point there, they sent him. He is a puppet. They told him here it is. They said, listen, you've been sitting on this couch too long doing nothing. We got a mission for you. We got an important mission. And Doofenhertz Evil Incorporated decided they was going to send him on a mission. And there's
definitely not a lack of adjectives in this group. We definitely got our dictionaries out.
He went straight. I mean, he went straight Rambo. He was 007, the little thing going across the screen, and he there checking out where the money going, and ding ding ding, Peter is still in the money.
I was here when he came in that one day, and I was happy to see him because I thought for once there was going to be some common sense and reason downtown that they're going to embrace what's going on at the resource center here, because we're not the GOP. We never said we're the GOP. We said we're here to help candidates. And if you see all the signs behind me, I don't know if you can see all, dozen or so signs. We warehouse people's signs. We gave these candidates a place to meet that was regularly scheduled. You could go to the downtown office. They wouldn't necessarily be open, but they had a GOP office that several.
Do they still have the office?
They do, against plan of organization. So let's talk about that office for a moment. Part of my saying that there was $50,000 unaccounted for in the GOP comes from talking to former board members, of which they have churned 11 people off of that board since we elected the slate that includes Chairwoman Morton all the way down. So they've lost 11 people. Now, you normally don't turn over your board 1.5 times in a 2-year cycle unless you're really a poor leader. But that's we're going to get to that. So at the inception of needing a GOP office, 5 elected officials. I know that it definitely was Diane Wheatley. I know Tom McGinnis gave money. I'm not sure, Hunter, do you know who else gave money to?
Sure don't.
Okay, so it was 5 people because it was $2,500 or $2,600 each that they put in so that the party could have an office. Because this is another thing people don't understand. Cumberland County GOP does not get money from Donald Trump and the national GOP organization.
Correct.
Every dollar and cents we get comes from me, from Hunter, from anybody that writes a check for the GOP. This is your money. So me speaking to a board member, one of the 11 which churned, I was able to kind of fleece out. They have made revenue $50,000, including the 2,600 times 5 that was put in for lease by McInnes and other elected officials. That lease was for 13 months. That 13 months expired. Sharon, when did that 13 month expire? Wasn't it like November or December?
November.
Okay, so November 24. Oh, no, we have a comment. So Mr. Pate commented, if we had commitment of volunteers instead of starting your own little clique. So Mr. Pate, I'm sorry that's how you feel. This isn't a clique. This is a business. It also is my office. You know, I don't know who you've spoken to down there. This resource center was open because of my candidacy running for county commissioner. Sorry, I'm digressing here. I just want to respond to messages I see. The downtown GOP has their own mandate to get volunteers to staff it. It had nothing to do with us like scraping off volunteers. You were free to go to both places. It was a simple vitriol that we received for not cooperating with the GOP. Oh, I remember you. Yeah, tell Tommy that he's still not tall enough to talk to me. Yeah, I know who he is. And Tommy D is a crook. So, yeah, I thought I remembered that name, but whatever. So one of my fans, he's forgetting that his little buddy tried to attack me in a parking lot, and I almost whatever because his buddy's a crook. Anyway, whatever. We'll move on.
Peter,
but
everybody after you.
You know what? Come at me, bro, because I don't have anything to hide.
Tell them pull up.
I don't.
Tell them pull up on me.
I see. This is the problem that the GOP has with Peter Pappas. Number one, I don't owe anybody anything in this town. I've worked very hard along with my family for 27 years at this point. We've established a reputation. We have a name here. The people that have a problem with me, you know, Graham, go away. Anyway, he keeps commenting, whatever. Just go back, whatever rock you came from, go back to it. And I hope you have the day you deserve. But, you know, we've put in the time in this city. So the problem with Pappas and GOP is I am a Republican since 18 years old. I voted Republican in every damn election. They're going to float around some comment where I said I supported Colvin and this, that, and the other. And yeah, I said that. But in response to Freddie being vitriolic and attacking me in front of a bunch of kids at early voting at the Cumberland County Board of Elections. And this is like my city council race. So anyway, let's talk about the money. $50,000. How do you feel about not having a treasury report for the last year and a half? What do you think?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at this comment. I'm a comment. You might not comment. I'm a comment. He said, if they had the commitment of volunteers, you guys, right, instead of starting your own little clique on Owen Drive, the downtown office would be open more frequently.
Right.
Well, first of all, here's what you got to understand. And I don't know who this Graham Pate is, but how many volunteers you got working over there at the RC, Peter?
Everybody that's here. So basically, the RC is comprised of myself, Bree Eldridge, and Laura Musler as like volunteers running the place. Okay.
Mhm.
We really didn't have anybody volunteering for us. If we got any volunteers, it was meant for the candidates to sit up at polls and hand out literature or do door knocking, but there wasn't any like volunteers needed for the RC.
Okay, so with that being said, his comment clearly makes it clear that nobody wants to volunteer at the GOP office. That's clearly what he's saying.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to blame you guys at the RC for why no one wants to volunteer nobody volunteered at the polls. Nobody.
We can ask him this. When did he volunteer? See,
yeah.
This is
what days do you volunteer, sir?
I want to know how many folks watching and people that want to detract and all that's fine. But are you an armchair Fox News Republican Monday morning quarterback? Are you putting skin in the game? Did you put your name on a list to help a candidate? Did you offer to walk down the street in your neighborhood? Did you put your name on a precinct chair list to be chair of your voting precinct?
And if you did put your name, and if you did put your name on the list, did you follow through and do the work that the list that you put your name down to do?
Well,
that's the other thing.
You put your name on the list and then you, Bishop, show up to a meeting and find out you're no longer on the list.
Exactly, because I've been illegally removed. I put my name on the list and got the email from Nina that clearly said in the email, I have verified you are the precinct chair for Judson Vander. And then told me when the meeting was. I showed up to the meeting and they got somebody else sitting as the Judson Vander chair, even though I just got an email from Nina that I have kept all of this time that clearly said it has been verified you are the precinct chair for Judson Vander. So, I mean, this is why people don't, if you talk about people not volunteering, and when you have a full board and a half turnover within 2 years, there is a reason for that. It means that the people do not have confidence in the leadership. People want to serve. They want to help. They want to volunteer. They want to show up. But they don't want to deal with the nonsense that is in leadership at this time, because the current leadership is going to lead this ship straight into a Titanic type situation. And you wonder why we've only had one Republican mayor in the city of Fayetteville in 60 years, and that was Nat Robertson. You know why? Because we do a whole lot of stuff. We talk a lot of stuff about, Trump and getting all of these state. We lost the governorship in North Carolina. That was attributed also to Cumberland County because we didn't show up and do what needed to be done because the poor leadership getting people to the polls. And then you can't even get a Republican mayor in Fayetteville. You know why? Because the leadership in the county GOP that is supposed to help to ensure that Republicans are getting elected has failed. So let's stop trying to throw crap at people that the crap don't belong to. And as Susan Mills said the other night, at the end of the day,
back up. Susan Mills, vice chair of the North Carolina GOP,
vice chair, second in charge of the North Carolina GOP, made it very clear at that meeting on Tuesday, the buck stops with the county chair.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care what anybody say, Mr. Pate. I don't care what anybody says. The buck stops with the county chair. And if the county chair doesn't want the buck to stop with her, then get out of that seat and allow someone to sit there that doesn't have to hide behind a camera in a room, in a closet, and talk about, we're red and we're Republicans, and that's all I wanted to say. No, what you should have did was came out of hiding on Tuesday and come and face the people that you're asking for a vote from. So at
Amen.
that point, I
Absolutely.
believe you are disqualified to be county chair any longer. I wish you would just step down, but since we only got 2 days left, we'll let you go ahead and ride this thing to ride this thing all the way through. But the
cows come
problem
home.
is we lost. What did he say? We lost the governor's run because Mr. No, listen, listen. You focus on the governorship. You focused on the president. Y'all, the GOP in Cumberland County can't get Republicans elected here.
Mhm.
The
That's
Republicans
where it
that
all
get elected
starts,
in
on the local
Well,
level.
and
the Republicans that get elected in Cumberland County get elected, and I'm gonna just be blunt and straightforward, on their own. They do not get elected because the GOP in Cumberland County helps them. Having
at
been
all.
someone who has ran for office in Cumberland County, the GOP in Cumberland County does not help candidates. You know what they do? They sit there and they hand out cards at the polls that cause candidates to lose votes.
Yep.
So the RC, the Resource Center, says, okay, we're going to step up and do what the GOP, based on the plan of organization, cannot legally do. We're going to jump in and help candidates, something the GOP cannot do, will not do, does not do. So, when y'all start mudslinging, make sure. Here's the thing, Mr. Pate. When you start mudslinging, make sure you picking up dirt, not crap. Okay. Smell your hand. Smell
There
your
you go.
hand.
So
So
I
true.
want to clear something up. So we've talked about you being removed from the precinct chair position of your home precinct. I want to separate the difference between illegal, because that's like a general statute you're violating, versus it's against our plan of organization we have as the GOP. And that's what a lot of the folks that are really vitriolic about this, we have a plan that says how things are supposed to work. We're supposed to run meetings with Robert's Rules of Order. We're supposed to gavel a meeting open, gavel it closed. We're supposed to approve minutes. We're supposed to have a treasury report, old business, new business, motion to adjourn. That's the way it's supposed to work. And the role of the GOP party here is to turn out the Republican vote. They are not tasked with getting you or I elected as mayoral candidate or county commission candidate. Their job is to simply talk to all Republicans and engage that base. So the Resource Center, we realize that this is a majority minority community. Somebody pointed out a couple of days ago, and I think we made peace, so I don't want to stir this back up, but I serve on the fabled Cumberland Human Relations Commission. Okay. So they've accused me of being DEI and all this other stuff. What they haven't done is dug into the minutes where I actually raised my hand and wouldn't approve the minutes because, quote, my outburst was not properly recorded. I swear to God. One of those meetings, they said, do you approve the minutes? I said, no, because you guys didn't pick up when I said y'all are full of what. So if it wasn't for the 3 or 4 conservatives that were on that commission, it would have been a lot worse. But it's a matter of math. It's only 3 or 4 of us versus a team of 16 total commissioners. Just do the math. 3 against 13, you're not going to get anything done. So,
but you got to be in the room. That's what they don't realize. You got to be in the room. You've had people like Johnny Dawkins, former city council member Johnny Dawkins, a Republican, but he was on a city council where he was the only Republican against 9 others, Democrats, including the mayor. What was he really getting done? Should he not show up to meetings?
What's changed? We still have Lynn Green, a Republican, in his old seat. And we still have no other Republicans because they don't support. When I ran City Council District 6, west side of Fayetteville, an open seat, first time out, I ran against my mailman. God love him. Derek Thompson, councilman, you're doing a hell of a job, more than I thought you would. And I have to say, he's really gotten into that role, and he's doing a really good job. The guy was my mailman, okay? He even delivered mail like the previous 2 years before he ran to that area. So he had like an in. I still took 40% of the vote because I know how to run a damn campaign. And I know that people that don't look, think, and act like me, I need to talk to them too. That's what the GOP is tone deaf downtown at this time. They don't understand it. They call you a rhino. They call you the whole thing about the primary color thing. Holy crap, guys. Oh, the red tent, the blue tent, the purple tent. Are you kidding me?
Peter, I say something here?
Yes.
Mr. Minor said something on his show. He said that there are thousands of Black Republicans, and him and his family has caught a whole lot of
hell.
yes
Yeah.
by being upfront that I am a Republican.
Yep.
Like I was saying down there at the meeting that Nina didn't respect me enough to show up for. I have never seen them in my neighborhood.
Mine neither.
So how many other Black Democrats have Republican values that Republicans have not reached out to them, and they're just believing the lies?
Yep.
Mhm.
In order to turn a blue county red, you got to go purple. Do you really think that President Trump, if he did not reach across party lines, don't you know it was a whole heap of Democrats that voted for President Trump?
Yep.
Because he went to where they were. He related to them. And they was like, you know what? I'm going to vote for President Trump. But how can you turn this county red? You got to go purple.
You
got
have
go
to.
through it
So
first.
true.
Yeah.
It's no way. There is no. Listen, let's just talk. There is no scientific way to go from blue to red without going purple first.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Well,
There has to be a transition. But the problem is the current GOP, and I would say the GOP as a whole has a very bad habit of not, especially locally, reaching out to Black Republicans. And like Ms. Sharon said, there are thousands of us, but they don't want to come out. Look at how many I could count. You know how many Black Republicans showed up to the meeting on Tuesday? Myself, Miss Sharon, Simone Pemberton. I think that's it.
Yes, sir.
I think that was it. Out of thousands of us in this county, you want to know why? Because they don't care about us. They don't care about us. They
Nobody's
just
reaching out.
see,
exactly.
I don't
I've
think
never
it's-
seen them
Bishop,
in my neighborhood.
what I hate to think is that they don't care about certain different people, demographics in our city. But what it tells me is they're tone deaf, that we are 60% minority of a community, and that we are, I've always said to people about Cumberland County, we are integration mission accomplished. Like, demographics across the country, it's a much different makeup than it is in Cumberland County, North Carolina. Okay. And it, to me, just represents a tone deafness that, we're not trying to put democratic principles into the Republican Party.
Absolutely
I'm trying to go
Absolutely
and
not.
reach to make a safe landing for people of color and people of minorities to be able to find a home in the GOP.
Yes.
Make it welcoming. But what is wrong with showing a soft landing? And you know what, guys? You go to the polls every election, you vote. There are some people, they're called super voters. They vote every primary, every election. And you know who they are? Generally Democrats. They're Democrats, but they're committed to what's going on in their community, or they're at least in tune with what's going on in their community. And the GOP, the current board, poo-poos that and says, "Oh, no, they're not. They can't be. So let's ignore them."
But look at the other day, Peter, at the meeting when they were asked about how they're going to get more Republicans out to vote. They didn't say they were coming into and I live I live out here. I live on the out going towards Clinton. I live in Fayetteville. My area got annexed in, so I live within the city limits of Fayetteville. I just live way out here. I live in a very, very nice area. They don't come out here. You know who come out here? I'm gonna tell you who come out here. Democrats. I see Democrats be out here knocking doors, talking to people. but I don't see nobody else. But you know what really tickled me? It tickled my fancy the other night when Venus said that the way they're gonna turn the county red is by going to Fort Bragg and getting soldiers on Fort Bragg to vote. First of all, your husband was in the military for a long time. Clearly, he does not understand. You do not campaign on Fort Bragg. It is not allowed. You're not allowed to campaign on Fort Bragg. You're not going up there mess with them soldiers. Many of those soldiers are not Cumberland County residents. They are stationed here, but they send their vote back home. That's why they don't vote, because this is not home for them. This is a temporary duty station. That's all this is. This is their temporary TDS. That's all this is. And when they're done here, they going back home. Some will stay, and then they will lock in and get involved in the process. But you're not going on Fort Bragg, knocking on doors, asking soldiers to vote red. You cannot do that. Matter of fact, and if you do get on Fort Bragg, you have to go on Fort Bragg nonpartisan. They don't understand the rules of engagement. And since Freddie is such this hoo soldier, he should understand that there are rules of engagement, and that's not what you do. So when I heard them say that, I looked at Miss Sharon, and we both was like, "But what about our neighborhoods? What about there's a whole county outside of Fort Bragg that y'all are so disconnected from, till it is ridiculous. And when we call you out on it, you want to start slinging pooping and all the rest of this crap. Like, come on now, just grow up. And if you can't take the heat,
let's back up. Saying that we're going to engage Fort Bragg, I want to know where the geniuses with that plan, how they feel about. Have you been following at all the court race with Judge Griffin and all the stuff? So I don't know enough about it to really speak about it with authority, but basically, Judge Graham is a Republican that lost against a Democratic incumbent. And right now, Judge Griffin has lawsuits in the North Carolina appellate court. He's trying to throw out 60,000 votes. Most of them are soldiers. So I'd like to know, the people that want to go engage Fort Bragg, how do they feel about a Republican judge candidate throwing out 60,000 votes? And he's claiming because they didn't have phone numbers, social security numbers, whatever. Most of them were soldiers overseas or first-time voters. So I'd like to know if anybody in our current GOP has the intelligence to break that down for me and say where we should be as Republicans on that issue, because we should absolutely cater to our veterans and our current active duty soldiers.
That question you just asked, there's a scripture that answers that question. The scripture, I forget the exact scripture, but I know exactly what it says.
Here we go. Hit me, Bishop. That's why you're here.
Jesus said, you ask a hard thing of me. You're asking them a hard thing, Peter. You asking them to do something that they just not going to do. And it's sad to say that, and I say it comically, but it's sad because the lack of intelligence, the lack of intellectual stamina and altitude and aptitude. It is. If my mother was alive, she'd call them ignoramuses. And it's willful. It's not like they have the information. They just refuse to use it. And I'm so baffled. Sitting in that meeting the other night, I was listening for something substantive.
Use your big words, Bishop. Come on now.
Yes, I'm using my big words. I was looking for something with some substance to it, and I got nothing but people throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping it would stick, and then slipping in it as they walked away. That's all we got the other day from Venus and Juanita. They skirted past the answers. Susan Mills had to call them out and say, look, I love Miss Gail, but Miss Gail, I'm gonna have to call you out too. that meeting was ran very one-sided. It was horribly moderated. And it seemed to those of us who were there looking for answers that y'all just came to showboat and you were the dancing girl on the stage. And I hate to say it like that. I love Miss Gail, Dr. Gail. I love her. But Tuesday night, she lost some points with me because I watched as it seemed. You had Bruce Sykes running for Team United. His whole slate had to be quiet. He was the only one that could talk. But on the other slate, where only 2 people from their slate showed up and neither one was the chair, every time Bruce was given a question that only he could answer, both of them were given the opportunity to respond as well. Completely unfair. It was completely unfair, and I was highly disappointed. The only reason I stayed was because my salad, shout out to Scrub Oaks, was a very good salad.
Right. Well, and furthermore, I think you and I agreed, and I don't think we'll find disagreement in this crowd tonight. As soon as the current chairwoman failed to appear, and we were given excuses by the 2 remaining people that showed up from her board, I think the meeting should have been adjourned. It should have been the Team United slate or Cumberland United slate should have been allowed to speak. Let Bruce and his team each introduce themselves and say, thank you, good night. Go back to your plate of chicken Alfredo or whatever and get up out of there. I don't think they should have been allowed to speak at all.
I don't think so either.
Well, they said that they came to watch. They wasn't even aware that they were supposed to talk. They came down to watch.
We didn't learn anything, so they might as well have been mute.
They weren't prepared to talk.
All we heard was excuses. All we heard was, oh, you're going to get it all at convention. Well, where is it then? Where's the receipts? Why we got to wait till convention? I got to show up at your convenience? I'm here.
But you could, exactly. Come to me. But Peter, Shamika wants us to switch the subject, but I do want to touch on something because I see
I'm not sure
Jackie
which one
Taylor
to switch from. Which subject are we talking about?
I see Jackie Taylor, and I can't really see the picture, but I'm thinking that's Jackie Taylor that used to be the chair of the GOP before. And she made it very clear. She said, Graham Pate wrong. The current chair would not allow others to run the office. So it wasn't that, that the RC was stealing people and all the rest of this stuff. The other chair, the current chair wasn't allowing people to come in and volunteer to keep the office open. And this is Jackie Taylor, former chair. She knows what's supposed to be done. You had Bree Eldridge. You got all of this. Here's the thing. And me and Jackie, we've had our little words once, I think.
Everybody has. Right there.
Everybody
has.
But you know what? Here's what Nina fails to realize. I remember this. When Bree Eldridge served as chair, Jackie Taylor, who was the previous chair, served, I believe, in an emeritus role on the board as the former chair to provide guidance for the new chair to make sure that there was a continuity of service and resources and governance, that there was no lag. I don't see that. Why isn't Bree serving in that position for Nina? Or you got Jackie Taylor, you have people that have the wisdom. But when you just want to be fix it, Jesus.
El Presidente.
Yes, I was getting ready to say something else.
Don't say that.
Hey,
we
the
were all
Lord,
thinking it, but,
Shamika, the Holy Ghost snatched my tongue just that quick. God Almighty. Shando.
So I don't think, Bishop, usually I have you around to keep me from going off the rails, but Miss Sharon's going to be praying for both of us tonight.
You see my name. It says the aggressive conservative. I had to do that and the reason I did that was because my daughter was talking to me about Tuesday night, and I was saying, I was so proud of myself that I didn't do what I normally do and hit that table. And so I didn't hit the table. I said what I had to say. But a lot of people think that I'm aggressive, but I'm not aggressive. I'm passionate about what I'm talking about. And when I believe in something, I'm really passionate about it. And so it comes off as aggressive. So I told my daughter yesterday, I said, I'm rebranding myself the aggressive conservative. And so if anybody wants to, you can go to my website, himspired.com, hymspired.com, and you see all of my aggressive conservative gear and everything up there. I got stuff for the babies, I got onesies, I got all that good stuff for everybody. It's all up there. Look nice too. And you can check me out on TikTok. You find me on TikTok.
Right? Is that right, Bishop? Himspired?
No, put a Y where the I is. Put a Y where the I is. Himspired.
What kind of
it's called marketing and branding, brother.
Right.
Himspired.
You couldn't buy the other URL. You had to switch to the Y. Why are you lying to me?
It's actually true. I tried to get it that way, but then the Holy Ghost told me to put in the Y because it's kind of like a hymn.
Okay, is this right now? Okay.
Yes, himspired.com.
Okay.
If you click on the collections, or as soon as you go to the page, you'll see all of the tax stuff up there. It'll be right at the soon as you lock into the page.
Now, slow down, Bishop, because the current GOP board, they're not a fan of commerce. They don't quite understand how that works. So let's not break their little heads with actually.
I don't want them to think I'm stealing money. I don't want them to think that I'm stealing money from the GOP.
Because they assume people are so stupid that they're going to come in here and we misled them, because people are just that. They basically think that they're as dumb as their spy was to come in here. So they think everybody's that dumb. But anyway.
well, here's the thing. Since Freddie is going around buying stuff to check where the money goes, Freddie, if you're watching, go to my website, himspired.com, buy a few items. Buy some items. If you want me to, if you got items that you want that you don't see, like a baby rattle or something like that, I'll create it, put it up on the site. You can order it. It'll be drop shipped straight to you. I'm just saying. I just want you to know where the money goes.
Bishop, you got any pacifiers on there? Something orally fixated?
Don't make me put one up there, because I promise you, if I can find one, it'll be up there by the morning.
If you put it up there and call it the Freddy, you win the internet for the year.
I do have one that's going up. It's an image of a dog barking up a tree, and it says Democrats are always barking up the wrong tree.
Excellent. I like that.
Good stuff.
I think that needs to be. Can we co-opt that for the RC? I think that should be our new slogan.
Sure can.
So all right, we got. We're coming up on an hour here, guys. I guess time flies when you're having fun. I do have somebody.
That's because Miss Sharon been doing all that. That's because Miss Sharon been doing all that talking for a whole hour.
Yeah, we can't shut her up.
Ain't let nobody else get a word in edgewise.
I want to say something too. I think my parents worry about me, and friends of mine worry about me. Being involved in the political realm or whatever, and I have to tell them over and over and over. I'm enjoying life. None of this is getting where I'm losing sleep or angry. I mean, Bishop, you and I were about hysterically laughing Tuesday night.
Yeah.
With some of the
it's
stuff.
Comical.
I mean, it sounded, we were being rude to women or whatever, but we're all the Republicans in that room.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that it was not okay to demand answers from other Republicans.
That's that DEI. Yeah. Didn't even interview.
Peter,
yes, ma'am.
What are those numbers again? How the Republicans are outnumbered? You said something about 60 to 40.
So you're talking about overall voter registration in Cumberland County?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, we're sitting on about 49,000 Republicans versus, and I don't remember the breakdown, but it's between the Democrats and the unaffiliated voters. So basically voters we can't rely on necessarily, 150,000. So just doing basic math, 50,000 versus 150, that's 3-1. And for those of you watching that don't understand primary colors, that's 3. This is 1. That makes four, which makes a whole. Okay, but yeah, it's challenging in this county. You're up against a 3-to-1 odds. Let's see here. I've got some people wanting to join, and let's see.
The reason why I asked the question
Go ahead, Sharon.
is due to the fact it's just like the bishop just said, we're all Republicans.
Yes, ma'am.
We need to come together. And this is why leadership is so very important, because attitude reflects leadership. And if we have bad leadership, we have bad attitudes. Every one of us, now we're outnumbered 3-to-1. If we were trying to get elected to a lemonade stand and a Democrat is trying to get elected to that same lemonade stand, don't you know the Democrat gonna get 3 times as many votes?
Yep.
That is
So
correct.
how can we win?
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely
look,
correct.
there's other videos, and if you're following us from my YouTube page, my YouTube channel for my campaign, there's a playlist of 9 or 10 videos, and one of them talks about the board churn, how many people quit on Chairwoman Morton and all this. But
Exactly.
I have screenshots, and I'm sorry, it's public domain, so I did not take them out of the video, of one of the volunteers describing how heinously evil Ms. Morton was to volunteers. Now, we had seen it, we had heard it, but one volunteer in particular put it in black and white. Very descriptive, to be yelled at, bullied, left in the office by herself. And it's not the greatest part of town, let's admit it. It's Russell Street, across from the courthouse. So, we're not making this up. And leadership begins at the top. I've said over and over, a good leader wants people that are smarter than them around. They don't want to be the smartest one in the room, and they don't need to be, because they need to draw on the people on their board. Like Jackie Taylor mentioned earlier, Ms. Morton wouldn't let people run the office because she wanted to micromanage. Ms. Morton is the evidence of what's called, and I hate that it's called named after me, and that's not my fault, called the Peter Principle. That these people, certain people, just kind of climb up in the ranks as far as you'll let them go, but they're not qualified. And somehow she has pulled the wool over people's eyes, thinking she's so rah, great MAGA Republican that she should have these jobs. And we're here to tell you she's not. So, Ms. Joy, good evening. Welcome.
Hey, Joy.
Have you been watching? Go ahead.
I just joined about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Anything we said I probably shouldn't have said so far? Probably a lot of it.
No, you're right about the chairwoman, Nina. It's a lot of repetitive. It's all about the optics and, claiming to have brought on all these people. That was the massive amount of money from Elon Musk and the Trump campaign that activated all these people and got the word out. It wasn't them. This has happened nationwide. They are not unique in their gain in numbers. So to take, that as their victory is just wrong.
Right. Definitely.
Could that be considered stolen valor?
Yes.
Could that be considered stolen? What we call it?
Yes, and we've had the largest. They're calling it a youthquake in modern history, if not ever, as far as young people involved. And you've seen their photos. Not there.
Yeah.
Well, so I want to mention that. So if you look at the GOP, Cumberland County GOP Facebook page, these people are all legends. They've worked so hard. But if you pay attention, look at the people in the photos. First of all, they all look scared like captives, number one. But number two, it's the same 5 or 6 people. It's the same people. And it's the same photos from over 2 years ago. And furthermore, they want to, instead of answering the questions for us right now, where's the money? Why are there no meetings? Where were the poll observers on election day? Where were they? We know what they do. They deflect like Democrats do, and they say, oh, well, Bree's board did X, Y, and Z, and Bree Eldridge did this, that, and the other. We're not talking about Bree. This is ancient history. We're talking
Yeah, I
about
feel like
you.
I'm watching the Brady Bunch. They want to tattle on people like Cindy Brady. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, where's the receipts? But they want to deflect because their own ineptness led them to where they didn't do a damn thing for you Republicans in this county.
Nope.
And you need to watch. Pay attention. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. And Mr. Pate, be nice or I'm going to block you. Anyway.
There was one thing I want
Go ahead,
to
Hunter.
weigh in. You brought it up earlier in the podcast, and yes, a real podcast, but it goes back to the resource center, and I'm not the one to point fingers. I'm a blunt speaker. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to lay it all out.
I really
Tell
wish
it,
you'd hold
Hunter.
back some.
Teamwork makes dream work.
Yes.
The folks that come through these 4 doors right here at the Republican Candidates Resource Center with all the signage, T-shirts, it's stating local, state, federal. The volunteers that came through these doors to work, and we worked our rumpus off.
Mm-hmm.
We come together as a team. We didn't complain.
Mm-hmm.
We shared ideas, collaborated. We come together and got the job done.
We did.
If we had a disgruntled, we have a round table and we talked about it like grown adults.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what our entire party needs to do. That's the only way we are going to get stuff accomplished.
We managed to talk it out as adults here
That is correct.
because we were open. Now, do you remember the first day of early voting?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about what
And
we
the first day of early voting,
yeah, so early voting began on a Thursday.
I was on this.
There you were. So on Wednesday night, we all went to sleep thinking it was like the night before Christmas.
Right.
We were all excited. Early voting starts tomorrow. This is where all the work, all the knocking of the doors and the asking people for donations was going to pay off, right? And then we wake up Thursday, all of us candidates, myself, Tyson, Debbie, everybody. We go out to the polls. We were told there was people to work those polls from the GOP as far as being in tents and handing things out. Where were they?
Right. Nowhere
Crickets.
to be found. And I know that for a fact.
Absolutely. And I was at the
On
polls.
the inside, I was on the outside, and people were coming
Right.
to us stating that, well, they did not ask me for ID.
Yeah.
If there was a poll watcher, quote unquote, watcher, not greeter on the inside, they could have pinpointed that out to the folks from the Cumberland County Board of Election,
Mhm.
and what's their title?
Well, and so
They would have come to us and let us know.
we're talking about there was a failure both ways. We had no poll observers inside the precincts to watch the voting going on, so
Yep.
that they could keep an eye on did that person provide ID or whatever. You're absolutely right. I'm speaking more about the tents and the poll workers outside to hand out literature to the voters going in that may not be decided. We were told we didn't have full coverage.
Right.
All
You
8
didn't.
precincts. There was 8 precincts, by the way, for those of you on the other slate that couldn't remember. It was 8 sites, and there was nobody. So, Hunter, if you remember that night, were you in the meeting we had at the RC that I called that night on Thursday night? I don't know if you were,
No.
if you're here at the table, but so all of us candidates pretty much got the finger from the GOP. So I called all the other candidates that we're running together. This is a GOP effort. We met at the resource center that night. Okay, I whipped out a piece of paper. Who's got tables? Who's got chairs? Who's got tents? Let's mobilize. And Friday morning, at least 5 or 6 of those precincts had an established GOP present because of the resource center,
Yes.
and for no other reason besides good people came together and made it happen.
But you know what, Peter? If the leadership at the GOP was smart, they would realize that the resource center is not a threat but an asset.
Right.
It is designed to be an asset, an extensionary arm. It is designed to get in where they cannot get in. I see Carol Ulrich. I love her. But when you hear Hunter talk about working together, and you talking about working together, Peter, that's really what the resource center is there for, is to give candidates a safe place where they can get the support and the resources that they need and cannot get from the GOP. For someone like me, that's like a win-win, because okay, with the GOP, we're going to get the vote out. Resource center, y'all help the candidates, and we're gonna hit this thing on both, and that's how you come together. But when you have, once again, when you have people who are mentally inept, and
You're from New York, you have your own win.
Man, I'm telling you, when you have people like that who, like Nina, who wants to micromanage the GOP office, and as if she's the one paying the rent on it every month out of her own pocket. She might be, because ain't no money to pay the rent on it. Exactly. And so this queen needs to be dethroned because the kingdom is burning rapidly, and she is at the helm of the fire.
I have a question for Nina. What do they want? Like all this complaining, this childish, these long, complicated plots they've got going, publicly putting out there they think they've been bugged. Do they want to take this resource, literally, pardon the pun, but the resource center, a resource, away from the conservatives of Cumberland County? I mean, do they want this to shut down? Is that what they're saying? I mean, I would like to know, what is your point? Ladies and gentlemen over here complaining and all of this nonsense. Do you want it to go away?
And then if it does go away, Joy, what's your plan? What's their plan for if it does go away?
Well, how are you going to replace it? I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And who would want to come forward? Who would want to be a candidate when you hear what they did to McInnes, when you hear what they did to Diane Wheatley, and when they threaten? These people are an asset to our state, and I am not being, hyperbolic. These ladies, I haven't seen a gentleman come forward with these opinions, but these ladies are, honest to gosh, putting the citizens at risk. I mean, do they have a problem with having their military retirement being tax-free? I mean, when they put these people, in the trajectory of having to deal with potentially police, come on.
Exactly.
I mean, it's infuriating when you think about the amount of money and time electing these folks, and here they are being ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say,
it's ridiculous.
Miss Carol, thanks for your compliments. We are definitely handicap accessible here at the RC. That was one of the gripes that we had when they chose the office downtown at Russell Street. It's a second story with no elevator. And I'm not sure if you've looked at the average age of the GOP volunteer. It's not exactly in the 20s.
Yeah.
So, right there is a slap in the face to, we don't even care about you. If you're part of the ADA community of Cumberland County, which how many military vets and disabled do we have that would like to spend time to help the Republican Party? And then they chose an office to make sure they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just, Miss Carol was there Tuesday night at the event. So
it's little details like that, Peter. It's little things like that. Like something as simple as, and maybe not as simple, but something as simple as, like Miss Carol said, making it handicap accessible. When you know that's a part, you want everyone to be able to access the GOP office. So why would you get an office in a place that cuts out a large portion of your voting base so they can't come up there to the office? When Jackie Taylor and them had the office, they had it on Bragg Boulevard. It was at the old, I think, Bank of America or something. You would pull up, walk right in. Everything's right there. And I used to go down there. Even when I think Bree was down there too. I used to go down there, and it always had people in there. They'd have people in there, have little refreshments and stuff in there. It was like, and I remember standing there for hours just talking, because
Yeah.
it was accessible, it was available. There were other like-minded people there. I talked strategy. You'd see Bree there, and she's going over finances, and you'd see Jackie there, and they're having strategic meetings over in the corner, and they got offices. You got Shamika there, and she's planning her ground game to go out and get out of the community. I mean, come on now. It's not rock. Well, maybe it is rocket.
You know what?
Never mind.
And here's the thing, Bishop. I don't even know if it was really malice that they did it. They're just that stupid. They're that
Yeah.
tone deaf. It wasn't even a consideration for them.
I agree.
That's the
I
worst
agree.
part about the whole thing.
Yeah, it
Go ahead,
wasn't
Sharon.
malice.
Go ahead, Sharon. Oh, Sharon, did you mute yourself, girl?
Sharon, I
can't
think
hear
you,
you.
Miss Sharon, you're muted.
Oh, hold on.
Hold on. Okay, it's Peter did something. It's
I didn't do
Peter.
nothing. I do nothing. I think she
No,
muted
we
herself.
can't hear you, Miss Sharon. No, she not muted no more.
I unmuted her.
You did,
Shit.
Miss Sharon. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, and I know you got something to say, girl. I
Yes, she
see
did.
it.
She was
Going to
passionate.
town.
It's on mute. Yeah. There you go.
Is she on mute?
Well, she's off mute. But
Yeah, because I don't see the mute the
Maybe
icon next to her thing.
rejoin.
She might need Miss Sharon. Could you jump out and jump back in?
Someone text her.
she's
Jump
got a lot
out
to say.
and then click that link and there you go. She know what she doing. She
You
the
know,
I
trainer.
don't think
She
it was
know.
out of malice, but it was
Oh,
a sheer
we
oversight.
we got other people jumping in here. So let's everybody welcome Miss Hannah Holmes.
Yeah,
Heather Hannah Holmes.
Hannah Montana.
Pistol packing mama home.
Pistol packing mama. Miss Heather
Pistol
Holmes.
packing
Welcome.
Hannah.
It's so good to hear. Where is your face? I'm gonna knock you out of here. I'm gonna see
No.
some face. Why
Yeah.
Nope, not doing it.
not?
Because I'm not
Oh Lord. What? It's after 8 o'clock. You look like Swamp Thing. What are you trying to tell
Listen, Heather
much.
is black. Heather is black, and she got on a bonnet right now, so she's
She's
not
only
coming on the
12%
camera
She only
with that
12%
bonnet.
black. I don't want to hear that.
I'm telling you, she got a
What was
bonnet
that?
on right now. It ain't happening.
What was that? 24 and me?
no, it was
Oh my
ancestors.
gosh.
But no, I'm glad Miner brought up the Bragg Boulevard location because I was going to say something about that when that was opened. It was prime location because of the traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a central, accessible
mean,
location,
Yeah.
kind of like the
Bragg
resource
Boulevard
center.
is just
It's crazy.
busy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter pretty much any time of the day. It was
Mm-hmm. Very accessible.
kind of. Who would have thought?
They just
And
didn't
also
have.
with Jackie, with Jackie and with Bree both being chairs, people wanted to
Mhm.
come. They wanted to volunteer. They wanted to be involved. They weren't alienated. They weren't discriminated against. They weren't yelled at. They weren't mistreated. And the thing is people keep wanting to come back and say that we're being like personal. We're personally attacking these people.
Mm.
Have you ever seen Nina talk to people? She's condescending. She yells at you if she doesn't get her way. And that's not
Mhm.
being a personal attack. That's the truth.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we have the receipts, Heather. I mean, you and I made a lot of videos, and one thing about the videos that you and I made, and along with Bree and with Laura Musler too, we were very calm. I said this earlier in the broadcast. We're very calm in presenting receipts, and I did throw a couple of barbs because Mr. De La Cruz and I don't agree because I do think he's an idiot, and I'll continue to say he's an idiot. He called me a weasel and other things on his live, but God bless him. Okay, he'll never be able to look up to me. But at any rate, the tone of our videos was like, here's the information, we're going to serve it up, and here's the receipt. And they've been very, very vitriolic, very
Absolutely.
they're
Yeah.
just
It's
angry people.
and
And I
they're
get that if
they're
I had to
coming out
wake
with all
up and
these
look at that in the
lies.
mirror every day, I'd be pissed off too. But
God, no, Peter.
they're making
God,
live videos and they're literally attacking us. They're attacking
Right.
our credibility, and they're saying that the resource is fraudulent. And last time I checked, the resource center was a business, didn't make
Mhm.
any money the first year because most businesses don't. But I don't know, maybe if you didn't take any kind of business comm class, you wouldn't know anything about starting a business and how it usually takes about 2 years for you to have a return on investment. Oh, I'm sorry. There goes my intelligence coming out. Second of all,
Oh, because they
GOP
told you weren't
Put
intelligent.
that back in.
Second of all, the GOP is spending money that is not theirs. The resource center can spend money however they want, however they decide to choose to do it, because it's not the people's money. It is whatever money that is earned as a business. I guess we need to go back and start teaching people basic business.
Well, Heather, I got to push back on you on something, because you said they were out doing live videos.
Yeah.
Take that V out of there. It's not live video. It's lies video.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. They were doing live video. Yeah, because apparently my name is Hannah. I didn't realize that my mama named me Hannah. According to my birth certificate, my social security card, my name is Heather. But you know,
Heather
that's okay.
is your 71st name. Hannah is your Jack Britt name.
Yeah.
There you go.
My Campbell name.
I'm gonna go home and see if my dog is bleeding purple.
Oh Lord. Well, Hunter,
Lord,
it was,
you guys,
it-
can everyone hear me now?
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. What I was
Absolutely.
trying to say previously was that unfortunately,
Let's see.
I found that they are majoring on the minor and minoring on the major.
No pun
And-
intended.
Sharon, I love that.
Yes. So
Oh, I'm out of
it
water.
takes,
All right. Good night.
we're all God's creations. Let me just put it like that. We may not be all God's children, but we're all God's creations. And it takes a lot. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And don't try and reinvent that person. Now, for this young man, and I don't know Freddie from a hole in the ground.
Neither does Freddie.
But I was so disappointed in him when he came down to the RC on a recon.
A failed recon.
He could have asked. He could have asked.
And the club never did anything to Freddie. I've always treated him with kindness. And even when he was beefing, I'm trying to be the moderator. So why go? See, it's something behind them scenes that they don't want the people to see. And they get to remain in power for that secret to continue to be hid.
That's why we need Doge.
I want to know.
That's why we need Doge.
I want to know, you guys. Listen, with all of that turnover, you got the main treasurer. That person left. Then you got another treasurer. That person left. And then the first treasurer don't know nothing about the second, and the second don't know nothing about the first, and then the third don't know nothing about the second, and ain't nobody filing no reports on time. By that being the CCGOP, you see, our club may get hit with a $50 per day fine, but the CCGOP, man, that's a $500 day fine. I'm surprised we got money for coffee and donuts, man.
We don't. It's on consignment. But Susan Mills did make it clear at that meeting on Tuesday that because Callista asked, well, if these fines are levied, who's responsible for paying these fines? And Susan Mills made it very clear. It is the chair who is responsible for paying those fines. You can take
They didn't like that answer.
Oh, they didn't like that. So Callista kept saying, is that your opinion? Until Susan Mills grabbed that plan of organization book. I don't think Callista knew who Susan Mills was, but she learned that day, and Susan Mills made it very clear. The buck stops with the chair.
Well, let me say this too real quick, because Sharon's talking about the previous treasurers. The first two treasurers, the first one, she actually reached out to Bree for help, and Bree helped her with the treasury reports, and they were on the up and up. And then the second treasurer we had was Dwayne. Dwayne worked for the freaking county. Okay, he is in finance with the county. Dwayne crosses his T's and dots his I's. So at least the first two treasurers, even if they didn't know what they were doing, the first one didn't. She still reached out to Bree. Bree offered to help the last ones, and they blew her off.
We got to help one another. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, you may know something that I don't know. And I may know something that you don't know. But if we're a team, together everyone achieves more. There's no I in team.
Well, I have a question.
We're going to accomplish this, man. But we got to do it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm all for teamwork, but do we have to go on Callista's learning journey with her? I mean, while we're sitting there, she's asking these questions that most people know, and she was being quite rude to who she was speaking to. And just wasn't she Huntress Biden? I mean, just because her mom's there, are we stuck with her? She's disrespectful of our time. You learn that on your own time. We're here. We have families and lives and things to do. And we're sitting here while you ask these ridiculous questions. And I don't think it's fair that we're saddled with her. And I'm not being rude. I'm being quite serious. It's not fair, and it's disappointing. Her parents need to tell her, look, we'll discuss this at home.
I guess Callista had all the time in the world because she had the baby with a cute baby, by the way. I mean, baby.
Oh, very cute baby.
Yeah, very cute baby.
Adorable.
I had a problem with the fact that she want to yell over top of the baby.
That was upsetting.
Like but you're
right. And I'm not
George,
used to a lot of yelling. And when people want to yell and scream, I understand. That's not a part of my everyday. And when I have to put up with it, I don't like it. And I don't appreciate it. I don't care what the reason was. She was right in my face and spun around and was just screaming. And then she kept shushing. And I'm like, please stop that. Stop it. And she would shush me for asking her to stop shushing.
Well, you know that she probably called me Hannah because I said she was a nobody. So
she was the shusher in chief on Tuesday.
But just because your mom is up there talking doesn't mean you get to moderate and ask questions. Didn't we complain about that when that happened to Trump?
Yeah, exactly. And again, it just showed really how one-sided the meeting was on Tuesday. Even, and I see Miss Carol, earlier apologizing for us. And even at the meeting, she kept apologizing. She was like, this is not how this was supposed to go. I really apologize that this is not the way it was supposed to go. And, for her to have to do that, says that it just was not done properly. And again, Ms. Gail, Dr. Gail was the moderator for that evening. She did not do a good job doing it. I think she did her best, but she didn't do a good job. And it was very one-sided. And we had to deal with Callista, the shush master. And we had
She should have been walked out.
She should have been, because she was doing most of the yelling. I mean, I yelled at a point because I just got tired of her yelling at me and Peter, so I yelled.
Maybe she was a sergeant at arms and we didn't know it.
Bishop. Okay, guys. Bishop, you and me kind of earned her mouthing off a little bit, but she was out of line, being that, you and I are grown men, and she is younger than me, and I did say little girl. Say, that was not so nice, but if you're going to come at me in public, then be prepared.
Exactly.
Don't clutch your pearls when you've already been being rude yourself. That's obnoxious.
Or clutch your baby
to our chat. We do have Miss Barry, Angela. Welcome again, if I haven't already said so. Unfortunately, the only places we can send you to find information about the slates will be at the team. You basically have to go to Facebook and type in Team Cumberland and Cumberland United, and you'll see the slates. Now, you'll probably find very scant information about Team Cumberland. That's generally the current board. Most of what you have heard from us is what we've seen. Now, Cumberland United is headed by Bruce Sykes, local business guy. He's got Jackie Wayenmeyer as his first vice chair, I believe, if y'all want to correct me. Is it Jeremy Stanley? I'm not sure which is which. Y'all want to chime in?
I'm not sure exactly.
It's Jackie.
So they've got experience and professionalism on the Cumberland United page, and hopefully you'll find that when you see it. But thanks again for joining tonight. So basically, Bishop, you and I are not foreign to how to treat females, are we? Are we some kind of misogynist people that don't understand?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I've been raising for the last.
Wait a minute, I'm going to mute Heather. I don't want to hear her element. You know?
I've been raising.
We don't have no time for that smoke, Heather. No.
Yeah, we don't. I've been raising my daughter. You know, most people know I've been a single dad. I've been raising my daughter and my son pretty much on my own for 12 years. I have older daughters. I'm one of 36 children. From my mother, I have 7 sisters. I know how to treat women. And my mother taught me well how to treat women. But what she did not teach me to do was to let women disrespect me and I just sit there and just suck it up and drive on. I'm not going to do that. You know, and the other night I took it for a while because when I first went up there and I was saying something, I didn't know who she was. I just saw her sitting there with a baby, but I didn't know who she was. And she turned around and started fussing at me and I ignored it. But then it continued. And then when I went back to my seat, when I was standing there, she actually turned around in my face and yelled at me. So I went and sat down. But listen, Jesus said, turn the other cheek. But I only got 2 cheeks. And I got 4 of them. But when you get past them first 2, when you get past them first 2, you're going to deal with them second 2 cheeks. And those not the ones you want to deal with. So that's why she got my mouth. It's not about not knowing how to treat women. Here's the thing. And the women on here, y'all, if I'm wrong, let me know. Women need to know how to talk to men as well. You want me to talk to you with some common sense? Then you talk to me because men don't talk to each other that way. Because when men talk to each other that way, we throw hands. So when women jumping in want to start yelling, shut up and don't talk to my mom. First of all, your mom a grown woman.
Mama. She was saying mama.
Yeah, don't talk to my mama. Like little girl, sit down. Sat down and chillax a little bit. Your mama is a grown woman who is in a position of leadership, and she is now being called to task by the people who voted her. Well, I didn't vote for her, but by the people in this room who are members of the Cumberland County GOP. And if she is not qualified in and of herself to be called to task and deal with the heat that comes with being on the carpet, then she need to take her little self, because Venus cute too. I'm just saying it. But she take her little cute self over there and go sit down somewhere and talk to Freddie and give him a coloring book so he can color and keep his mind focused.
You know what? You know, that came to mind. The young man, Michael McCaskill, he wanted to sign the check on Peter calling her a little girl.
Wait, no, that wasn't McCaskill.
I think that was the guy sitting next to him, the one that was telling Peter to shut up.
There's one guy that keeps quitting every board and appointment. I think that's Morrison.
It is.
He was sitting all the way to the back.
Yeah, he was an older guy.
He yells a lot.
Yeah, that was that wasn't Mike McCaskill that I know of, because I know Mike. That wasn't him. But I know who you're talking about.
At the convention 2 years ago, Michael McCaskill, and I may be wrong, but I believe he made Carol cry of how mean-spirited he was talking to her. And for him, if that was him, I'm glad it wasn't, to point out that Peter called her a little girl, and he can make Miss Carol cry. I was like, look at you hypocrites.
Miss Carol is on this live tonight. Miss Carol, let me tell you something, girl. I bet they won't do it this year. They won't do it this year. Tell them I said, pull up on me.
That's right. I got your back, girl. But, you know, and it was wrong because you know what? So I don't know because I'm pretty sure, and Miss Carol, I love you to death. I know you weren't a huge fan of me a long time ago, but you know, it was wrong to see a 6-foot-something guy yell at somebody that I think, Carol, you're probably all of 5-foot-something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 71. And just the optic. What kind of man does this?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make you feel better, little guy? I mean, I told him, sorry, Carol. So you said, oh, hell no, you weren't really my fan. Is that what you're telling me? I'm not sure which way that's going. But, and I think that the argument began at convention over my post that's been floating around out there because I was pissed off at Freddie. And I said I would vote for anybody but him, and I'd support Colvin over him. So, oops. So what did I learn as a candidate that wants to run in the future? If you don't want it repeated, then
Don't
don't
say
put
it.
it on Facebook.
I will
say
say right now, I will not vote for him if he runs. I'm sorry. I
No.
won't. I will have anyone else.
Venus is not going to vote for him if he runs.
I will not vote for Freddie De La
My
Cruz.
Lord.
And I was one of his really biggest supporters too. No, this is despicable what they're doing and what he's allowing his family to do. If you can't even lead your family, don't try to leave my city.
That's right.
Oh my. She clocking T, y'all. She clocking T.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the rules of purple, like seriously, I need a chart. They need to have an app like for their color schemes. It's ridiculous. Like purple's okay here, not okay there, whatever.
Yep.
No.
But red and blue makes purple.
Exactly.
So
If it's a nonpartisan race, is it okay?
wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes, if you're a nonpartisan, let's just get anyone.
And then to attack Laura, about her son because she wore purple, which was his favorite color. They're not just despicable, they're distasteful. And again, if my mother was alive, she would say they have no couth. Just
Minor.
That was low.
Minor.
That was low.
Minor. I wanted to
Yes.
say earlier before I got kicked out, when you were talking about how women should.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, Heather.
That was Peter.
Sorry. I kicked you out that time. My bad. I just wanted you to go put your face on. That's all.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Heather. You got it.
The problem is it's a societal thing more than anything because we've removed men from the homes. And because we remove men from the homes, they're growing up without fathers. And so, of course, boys aren't learning how to become men and girls aren't learning how to be respectful of them and speak to them. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm guilty of my mouth getting the best of me a lot of times.
No.
I'm not proud of it, but a lot of it comes from me being a single mom. Even though I was raised.
Why?
What?
Is that the only reason why?
Yes. But see, because I was raised,
you know what,
I was
Heather?
raised how to speak to men. The thing is, but the problem is too, is I'm trying to raise one, by myself with the help of my family, and he's so polite and I want him to be polite. But a lot of times too, I feel as women, it depends on the situation that we're in. Like for me, I say this and I know it's not an excuse. I don't have any tact. I don't have a filter. But, growing up, I let people walk all over me. And there just comes a point in time where you just get tired of doing it and you're not going to handle it anymore. And so my mouth gets the better of me sometimes, but it's not.
But you know what?
Intentional.
You know why that, and that's a good statement. It's very true. But in her, if I'm not mistaken, her daddy been in the home the whole time. I mean, he was deployed and stuff like that. Yes. So that takes that excuse away from her. That's just a lack of couth. That's just a lack of decorum. That's just a lack. She needs a serious. She needs
a switch.
Well, I ain't gonna say it because you might call
etiquette.
She need an etiquette class.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a whole bridal shop over there. I'm sure they can organize an etiquette class because she need one. She need an etiquette class, and she need to know not to yell when you holding a baby that close to your mouth. Like you disturbing the baby. Like the other lady, I think it was Diane's daughter, and took the grandbaby and moved because of the yelling. Like you yelling.
I love
with
that
the baby.
optic, and it was spontaneous too. She just said nope.
She
That's
got
a good
up to
parent
the
right
baby
there.
and moved. Exactly.
And then the other video, they're screaming as well. I mean, stop it.
Yeah, and she
that
was
baby's
the one
like what,
initiating
3-4 months old?
Yeah.
A cute little baby. That baby don't need to be traumatized by all that screaming.
Guys, let me raise my hand for a second. We got a comment from Conserving Cumberland, and maybe you guys can help me with this. Why did Hope GOP host, organize, and run the Trump town hall that was in Fayetteville at the Crown Lost Fall. So I think that's basically asking, where was our GOP? Why did Hope County need to organize it in Fayetteville? Has anybody got any tea on that one?
Yep, she blew them off. Same thing when she blew with the Mark Robinson campaign
She
when they
who?
came.
She who? Where? She
Nina
who?
Morton blew them off. So
Chairwoman blew them
they
off.
reached the chairwoman. Yeah, they reached out to her directly, trying to get her to, organize the Trump town hall for the county, and she never called them back or returned their call. Same thing with Mark Robinson. When Mark Robinson came last January, they reached out to her to try to secure a location so he could come speak, and it ended up falling on our club, and we ended up having it at Freedom Christian. For Mark to speak. But the reason why Hope County ended up doing it was because twice Nina has blown people off. She blew off the Mark Robinson campaign, and she blew off Trump.
So
Well,
a
that
whole
sounds
nother
like an
county
effective
GOP
leader. Yeah.
Yeah, a whole county GOP came to Cumberland County to host an event that was initially supposed to be hosted in Cumberland County by the Cumberland County GOP.
Yes.
Right. So a couple other comments came in. So Carol says I'm okay with her, and Carol, you always been okay with me. We're not going to let anybody
Carol's
make you
good
cry
people.
again. I'm just gonna say this right now. We're not going to let anybody do that to you anymore, because we got your
No.
back. And definitely, she says it like it is. Nina screwed up.
Yeah, and people
So-
know. And people know, and that's the thing. They don't. They think people are dumb, but people know. That's why when you looked around that room on Tuesday, the majority of the people that were there looking for answers, because people know, and they showed up because they want answers, and that's why when they weren't getting the answers that they were looking for, people walked out. When people found out that Nina Slate wasn't going to be answering certain questions, and that certain questions were off the table, they walked out. Why? Because people know, and people want answers. So if they think this is about to be smooth sailing on Saturday, I got a point of order for them. It ain't happening.
But we
My
need
And the fact that they took a vote and decided, I would love to hear that conversation as to why they were going to be so rude to people and not even let us know. I mean, they could have put out a notice. Word would have gotten around.
Well, Joy, they did. There
They
was
did?
rumors that Nina wasn't going to show up.
I heard
And
the
it was
rumor.
she wasn't going to show up because she, quote, wasn't going to be attacked. But, all of these attacks would not be attacks if she would just present the receipts. And that's
Well, what's not an attack for Nina Morton?
Pretty true. Yeah, very true, Joy. My question is how can people in good faith, after we brought them all of this information and we're telling you, where's the finance report? Where's the money? $50,000 is missing. We don't have receipts. They can't be accounted for. What's it been spent on? If people really want to drink the Kool-Aid and vote these people back in, they get everything they deserve. Everything.
And Heather, you cannot be in a leadership position and have thin skin.
No, you can't be in politics
I
and have thin skin.
realize, as adorable as I am, not
Yes,
everybody's going to like me, and I can't please all the people all the time. I can only do the best that I can do and treat you the way I would like to be treated. But
Exactly.
right. But if you don't agree with her 100%, or you're not from the right neighborhood, child, please.
That's right. Child, please.
Now there's someone that she just placed in CC22 that I've never heard of. She's never come knocking at my door. She's never called me up. She's never asked me to volunteer. So it's like these are her minions.
They are.
And she's not leading the people properly. It's like the blind leading the blind. We're going to both fall in a hole.
I call her the Pied Piper. Y'all remember those cartoons? Like 80s with the little Pied Piper. He paid the little mice come falling along. She is the Pied Piper.
Pinky
And we would have organized this precinct. She knew that I was interested in obtaining the precinct. I went to the convention. I spoke to her there. Linda DeVore even spoke to her there. Then I went ahead with my bone on bone knees and climbed up them steps and went into the GOP to talk with her about CC22. Oh, Sharon, don't worry about it. I'm going to call the current precinct chair, and then I'm gonna tell her to resign, and you'll be the precinct chair. That was 2 years ago.
You can't tell anybody to resign. You can't. She tried to pull that mess with me and try to sit there and say, because I was managing Simone's campaign and I wasn't able to focus on my precinct, that because the gentleman that came in as the assistant, God bless him, he sweet old man, and he's got his own personal problems as it is, but she tried to sit there and say like he was going to be like my replacement. And I was like, if he wants to do the job, I'm okay, and I'll help him every chance I can. But right now, like, my focus was on Simone. That was my whole focus. And, she made the comment, well, you don't just work for Simone. Yes, I do. I got paid by Simone to be her campaign manager. Nina didn't pay me to be a precinct chair. So don't sit there and tell me who I work for and who I don't.
So guys, and this is another,
Heather.
I want to interject here for a moment. We're talking about precinct chairs and stuff like that. I want to bring that down to what does the average Republican voter know about that in Cumberland County? You have your polling place. Like, I used to live in Wells Place, so my polling place was the Church of the Nazarene over there on Rayconda Road. That's where I voted. So that was my precinct. So as a Republican Party, we like to assign certain Republicans to each one of those voting areas, because that's a geographical area, to contact other. I'm sorry, I got to break it down this way. Why are you laughing at me? So
taller than Freddie.
I know. I saw that.
You guys like that? So I don't know. I was thinking of something else to put up here, but I think I am. I don't know. I'll wear my heels on Saturday. I'll steal them from Freddie. But anyway, so the precincts are supposed to be organized by a precinct chair at convention. So 8 a.m. is sign in on Saturday. 9 a.m. begins the precinct chair meetings. That's where you get to find your home voting precinct and you can be the chair. But that means you're going to get a list of Republicans that you're supposed to call and make outreach. So I'm saying that to say this.
If your name is not scratched out and replaced.
It's not scratched off.
Exactly.
So I believe myself and Shamika Bethay, we both lived in the same precinct 2 years ago at convention. And I really don't remember the order of operation. It's like, she said, do you want to do it? I said, do you want to do it? Back and forth. One of us did. Then we both walk away. And I believe Mrs. De La Cruz, and God rest her mama was there, but somebody scratched our name off that list.
Wow.
And then it was a whole thing about who did what and when, and did Shamika do it, or did I scratch my name, or it was a whole thing. But let me get to this. The national GOP has something called the Campaign Sidekick, which is an app. These damn phones, they run our lives, okay? So the Campaign Sidekick has all the voter information built into it, and that's how we get our call lists. It'll do auto dialing, it'll do texting. We can do door-to-door knocking, so we know who's in the house that we knock the door up. The problem is, and Heather, you can chime in on this, when did Campaign Sidekick become available to your candidate?
Oh, probably not until, I want to say, October.
Okay.
Because we had been knocking doors. I think we started I came on in April. We started knocking doors, I think, almost immediately in April. And we were doing spreadsheets. We were printing them off and doing spreadsheets. And then it wasn't until I got with you to be able to use your app, because we kept getting the runaround for Campaign Sidekick.
Since you helped me get through the primary successfully, number 2, by the way, 5,499 votes in the primary, probably more than Freddie ever got.
Yeah, I think that popped up yesterday.
Yeah, it did. But the thing is, I think, did I have my app for the primary?
You did.
Okay, so I paid for a private app.
We only knocked 1 or 2 days, because by that time by the time I came on to help you, we only had like a month left, and so we were very specific with our target.
Well, remember, there was one guy that commented I was just depending on my charm and good looks to win, which I told him, his wife and girlfriend probably likes my charm more than him. I digress. So, but the thing is, I had the app back in January, February, March of the year. The Campaign Sidekick that's supposed to come from the national GRP was not given until October. Now the election's November, so I went to the GOP office in the summer and spoke with Chairwoman Morton, and I said, I can give you the app for your precinct chairs. Give me a list of your precinct chairs, and I will give them free use of my app that I paid for through my campaign. It's about $1,200. She refused to accept my help because, and I quote, they will not work at the resource center. To which I had to say, Nina, that's my office. So this is how much she put our entire county back. We didn't have the tools until October. I'm handing her an olive branch in July with all the voter data. All the voter data comes from GOP Data Center to begin with. So no matter where the app comes from, the data is coming from National GOP. But that's how vitriolic and, I'm sorry, short-sighted and stupid our GOP was.
Mm-hmm. And continues to be.
And see, that's the thing
so-
there is there's
Go ahead.
so much that we have not spoken against, specifically something like that. An olive branch was extended. People want to sit there and come right out and say, oh, you're divisive. You're this, that dude wanting to comment. I'm going to spill the beans. Where were you? Where were you? Were you volunteering? Were you out there doing things? Like, people want to come on here and they want to be keyboard warriors and, oh, this and this and that, and I got this and I got that. Where were you?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see you out knocking doors when we were knocking doors. I didn't see you at political events. I didn't see you at polling sites. I didn't see you, but you want to come after us. Put your money where your mouth is.
Let me share a comment here from Ms. Carroll.
I done got half mad now.
Well, check this out. And this is how despicable these people are. You guys read that comment.
She did it
to me. She called me while my husband was in the hospital. She gave mine, talking about the precinct, to Sarah Lucas without my resignation. I was on campaign sidekick in May of last year. That's what they do. They just make the rules up as they go and put in who they want.
Let's break that down. So the first part is that Nina arbitrarily handed Carol's board precinct position away without her acknowledgement. And then number two, I guess, Ms. Carroll, are you saying that you had access to campaign sidekick?
If I remember correctly, those that worked on the Trump campaign or the Trump 47, that's what they used, because I believe Laura and them had it. Okay. It took a while for candidates to get it because they had to go through something. But those that worked the Trump 47 pretty much got it.
It was the young lady. We had the young lady out of Robeson County, didn't we?
Correct.
Abigail Blue.
Okay, but let me point this out though. Do you see how I just accepted new information and just changed what I said?
But that's
you
what
see
I'm saying.
how I accepted some new information because I don't need to know every damn thing.
But that's what I'm saying. All of this information that we haven't even spoken against. We've said nothing about. We've only called out the major issues, but there's all this little things behind the scenes that people have no idea that happen. And then they want to come and attack us and call us names and call us fraudulent and God knows whatever else.
Well, let's talk about what the precinct chair really is. They're gatekeeping the access to the board meetings, correct?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Precinct chair, when we become precinct chairs, we are automatically on the executive board. And the way that it works, that you have the GOP board, which is like all the officers and the at-large members, and then precinct chairs become part of the executive board. When we become executive board, we have oversight over the board and any decisions that they make. We have oversight on how the money is spent. We have oversight on everything. We have to approve things that the board does. And if people, if they're not familiar with it, then that's what happens. That's why becoming a precinct chair is important, is imperative, because without that oversight, stuff like this happens.
So Freddie Dela Cruz is in he posted a link.
Welcome, Freddie. Good
Freddie, by
you.
all means, if you want to come on, Freddie, and defend yourself, come on. I mean, and I'm being honest, and I've said this even on my podcast. We will be respectful and let you talk, let you say what you got to say, and let you plead your case. But I mean, typically what we get from your side is we'll invite you guys on, and you guys will tiptoe out the back door. Right. So if you want to come on and you got something to say,
link, so Fragile Masculinity, you're welcome. Come on in, and we will be respectful. And we will have a conversation if you're up for it.
Yeah.
Yes, because I would really like to know why he came down there to purchase that hat to do a recon job. I am just so disappointed. And I
They have
thought Freddie
malice.
was better than that. And I
He
really
should
would
be.
like to know what's your response to that, Freddie? And why would you come and to just for malice?
Yeah, yeah. And I think Heather said something that I knew, but she just said it and it kind of made a light bulb go. When we start talking about them arbitrarily removing people, removing precinct chairs and putting people into precinct chair posts arbitrarily and unilaterally in Nina's case, it all goes back to me, it goes back to the money. You don't want, as Joy said, you don't want those, as Joy called them, gatekeepers, to be able to observe what you're doing. So anyone who you feel would threaten your ability to inappropriately manage the CCGOP, you removed us arbitrarily and unilaterally, and just got, I'll put an ally in that space, somebody who's not smart enough to identify where I'm screwing up and where I'm doing things that are inappropriately and could possibly be illegal. So you
Like a
remove
straw
people
man,
like,
maybe?
yeah.
There we go again.
There you go. And so that's why you remove people like Joy and myself and Heather and scratch out names.
She gave it to her boyfriend at the time. I was ticked off. He didn't even do anything.
Who was her boyfriend?
Boyfriend.
Ken. Good guy. I don't even think he knew it. But that's who was listed. And she wouldn't tell me. She refused. I'm like, who did you give? And finally she said, Ken Overgard. Ken Overgard. I'm like, he's not that interested in doing that.
So
yeah, she cut me out.
You said he didn't know Joy. Well, you said he didn't know that he was her boyfriend?
No.
I don't think he knew he was a precinct chair. So also, I mean, honestly, it takes, to door knock, the reality of door knocking, it can take a full day.
Oh gosh.
200 houses max. We could split up precincts into two people. Why do we have to have, was it for Judy Hawkins and Don Marquis? We need a parade in their honor for what they do. I mean, seriously, to say that one person can handle X amount of houses is ridiculous too on its face. So why not split them up and give 2 or 3 to the bigger areas? Do it by households.
My mom used to say you can catch more flies with honey
than you can with vinegar.
Okay. So we both had the same mama. So when you're spewing out all of this vinegar, my God, don't you know you're repelling people away? So
they got me, man.
The people that she got in these positions are all yes people, or they're not informed people.
Yep.
And if you challenge her, oh, you're replaced. You're being divisive. So now it's comical that she won a second bite at the apple. As if she hasn't done enough harm already.
But
now that's just like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris trying to run again.
But
you ran this country all the way in the ground, and you want to run again?
But Sharon.
Yes, darling.
Honestly, I'm not being funny. I'm not. I really don't think cognitively she doesn't think she's done anything wrong.
She does not. No. She honestly thinks these are attacks.
Yeah, she
As
thinks
a
she's in the right.
former, very close friend of this woman, I can assert that. And it's been this way from the beginning. Everything's an attack.
And just by the first video that Venus and her daughter did, and I'm listening to how they they were talking and saying what she's done was a great job. And I'm like, you drinking her Kool-Aid and you're drinking her own Kool-Aid.
And it's lowering the ceiling for our county. It's lowering the ceiling. We have better talent. We need to work for the betterment of the county. And there are other outlets for these individuals. You know, their moms clubs or things like that, or their Republican women's clubs. But don't try to be in charge of the party on a county level when you're doing this. Don't.
Yeah.
But she got mad, Joy.
Who's going to run? Who's going to step up if you've got to deal with that sort of thing?
But she
Nobody.
got mad and went and formed another club because she couldn't get along with the two that we already have.
How's that going?
I don't know.
Probably embezzlement with that one too.
Oh my. Show
Shots
us the
fired.
money.
That
So I'm
sounds
still
like
on-
an A and B conversation. I'm gonna see my way out. Boy,
No,
I don't know what's going on across yonder. But now ask me something about Cumberland County Republicans Women's Club. Okay,
That's right.
I can tell you a thing or two. So I don't know what's going on over yonder, way over yonder. What the thing called? Sandy Hills or Scraw Hills?
Sand Hills Women of Action or something
They have
like
no
that.
action. Maybe they do mattress action, but they didn't do no action for the party.
Peter, come on.
And did
What I say?
Trump win Cumberland County? Does anyone know?
Do what?
Did President Trump, now I know he won North Carolina, but did he win Cumberland County?
I don't think so.
Don't believe
No.
No. I don't think he won. I don't think he won the first 2016 race either in
Yeah.
Cumberland. And I remember, so I actually remember, so I was working for Board of Elections, which that's another thing. None of the people that are on the current, I don't know if anybody on the current board, or I don't want to make this a blanket allegation, but the people, they're coming after myself, Heather, Bishop, other people that, number one, we're not running for a slate, but number two, I want to know who has worked for Board of Elections. I did that for 10 years. Linda DeVore asked me many, many years ago to volunteer and work for Board of Elections. So I was on the other side of that table asking people for their ID and, you know, all that stuff. I have the experience doing that. I'm on 2 boards and commissions. I'm visible in this community. Don't you want more folks like me? Or do you want people that hide from the, hit shots from the cheap seats?
And,
Where have they been?
Going back to the poll of being a poll observer,
Right.
when I tell you I was all up in them folks' face, look, I want to know what the count is in the morning time. I want to know what the count is at noontime. I want to know what the closing count is. And when I know what the closing count is, I want to know, make sure that that count from last night is the count we're going to start out with tomorrow morning. So how can I find that out and I'm in the parking lot?
Right.
It's 77 precincts. Okay, if we do have a poll observer in one, what happens to the other 76 precincts? And you know,
Well,
these people don't got no integrity. I'm talking about well, no, I shouldn't say that because, well, okay, I'm gonna just take a pencil and erase that. But they've been known not to be truthful.
Well, Sharon,
And suitcases is coming in through the back door.
Oh my.
We need somebody with some type of intelligence to know that if you got 125 votes on Monday at closing, on Tuesday, you don't begin at 5,672.
Exactly. Basic math. They doing Common Core.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So-
okay, I'm done, y'all.
and easily admitted to having able to get poll observers in after the deadline and after they were told no.
And
Right.
going
So
right back to that, Bree signed me up to be a poll. I am just ready to run for the Republican Party. Okay. Bree had submitted my name 2-3 weeks ahead of time. And the particular poll I was at, the workers on the outside, the precinct judge wouldn't even let them people come on the inside to use the bathroom.
Yep.
And then now I'm sitting there, now I'm scared to ask to use the bathroom. So I go to the precinct judge. I say, ma'am, I do live right around the corner, but I really didn't want to leave to go use the bathroom. She was like, no, you're fine. Your name is on the list. It's okay for you to use the bathroom, but none of those people out there that's campaigning. So Bree did her job.
So I heard that too. Now we didn't have that problem, I'm thankful. But the one thing that I did do that was respectful, even though the way that it was set up at where I was at for the most part, I always had like a jacket or a shirt or something, so I would cover up my campaign shirt when I had to use the restroom. So when I walked in, it didn't show anything, and then I could walk back out. And like I said, where I was at, you walked in and then you went to the right, and then that's where everybody voted. So we had an actual hallway that kind of separated, so we didn't have to walk through. But I still made sure that even though I was in campaign, I wear a campaign t-shirt, I always had a jacket or something that I could zip up and walk in to use the bathroom. So that way nobody could sit there and accuse me of trying to sway someone's vote.
Well,
I was at Massey Hill. Hill, and at Massey Hill, they had a door. Usually they would let you go through the back door, because if you went through the back door, it was direct access to the bathroom, and you did not have to go and be in any contact with the voters. They would not even let you come in through the back door. I had to call down to the Board of Elections and speak to the chair down there. I called Bree, because they didn't care who you were. If they didn't care if you were a candidate, working for a candidate, or what. You were not coming in there. We had somebody out there that was almost 90 years old.
Yeah.
That could not go in to use the bathroom. And then the lady threatened to call the police on me. She said she's going to call the sheriff. I said, well, go ahead and tell Ennis that I'm here. Tell him it's J. Antoine Minor. I'll be here waiting on him when him and his people get here to arrest me for wanting to use, because what I told her was, I said, I know why y'all don't want to let us in there, because y'all don't want us to see the insufficiencies in the shams that's going on in there with those votes. So you don't want to let us in. So then she got highly offended. How dare you? We don't do that over here. I'm going to call the police. I said, you can call them. What they going to do? They probably need to vote too. So what they going to do? But they would not let anyone in the bathrooms at Massey Hill. I mean, even the mayor of Massey Hill, the gentleman that they call the mayor of Massey Hill, was out there. They didn't even let him in.
Yeah.
Nobody so potty did.
All right. So we're talking about bathroom breaks and stuff. It seems kind of mediocre, but here's the thing. By North Carolina law, if you're not in the process of voting, you may not be in the voting enclosure. And that includes, so if the bathroom is like through the voting enclosure, you're not supposed to be in there. But now let's shift to election day, and let's talk about the absolute failure of the Cumberland County GOP. It was covered very well in City View. I believe Paul Wolverton wrote this article. One of the most important jobs of the Cumberland County GOP, or any GOP of any county, is to have poll observers that are authorized to be in that voting enclosure, because they're very strict as far as who can be in there or not. The people that work for Board of Elections have taken an oath to, keep it private, not disclose anybody's vote. There is an oath there. So the chairwoman's job, one of the very fundamental things, is to get a list of the people, good Republicans, that volunteered to keep an observation of what the Board of Election employees are doing. She failed to turn that list in. Now, I think initially, Heather, didn't she blame you? She got interrupted in the process of sending the email.
Yeah, she didn't come right outside name, but she had to get up to answer the door because
Right.
she told me that I could come after 12 to pick up, what was it? Slate card? I don't remember. I think it was slate cards. I think I was going to pick up slate cards. And she said, make sure that I came after 12. And I
Mhm.
think I showed up at 12:11 because I still have the text message where I called her and she sent me to voicemail. And then I sent her a text message and told her that I was sitting outside. Now, Miss Wheatley and her husband and her son were already out there waiting as well. They had been there before I even got there and didn't even answer
Right.
her. It wasn't until I actually sent her a message and said, I'm outside to pick this stuff up, that she came. And of course she was all
Wait, why did you have to message her? Wasn't the office open?
No, it was locked. It was closed.
Oh, so the GOP office wasn't open.
It was not. No.
And this is the day before a federal presidential election.
Yes, it
Our
was.
GOP office wasn't open.
It was not.
I bet you the RC was.
It was.
So
I left the RC, went to the GOP, and came back to the RC because I was
you
working.
couldn't get in.
I couldn't get in. Well, no, I did get in, but then, like I said, and then the article came out, and she claimed that she had to get up to answer the door. She didn't name me, which is fine. I don't care if they name me or not. Apparently,
I'll cover. Let me cover this again because we talked about it in one of our videos. To me, it's the height of hilarity and stupidity. I mean, look, if you screw up, just say you screwed up.
Own it.
Okay.
Own it.
Own it. Exactly. Own it.
Own it and move on. So basically, you're talking about a list of there's 77 precincts. I don't think she had coverage for all 77. She might have had 40, 50, 60. Still a good number of people. But she basically waited until the deadline Monday at noon to turn this list in. And then furthermore, not only did she send it a few minutes late, which is a deadline, but she sent it in another file format, which the Cumberland County firewall of their email server caught it and kicked it out because she used something called a rich text format. Does anybody know what a rich text format is? Anybody use that? I mean, when I send documents, it's PDF, doc, smoke signals.
It's a generic format. Nobody uses rich text format really anymore. No.
Yeah. So
Sounds like a cut and paste situation. Didn't know how to use a file, maybe.
Well, whatever it was, not only was the email was sent late, but it was sent in a weird format that got flagged as suspicious, and they didn't even see it until later that day. Furthermore, instead of her owning the mistake, if she had just not shown her rear end and accused the Cumberland County Board of Elections of malfeasance or whatever else, I seem to be using that word a lot lately, but if she hadn't have done that, there's good people down there that want everybody to have their vote counted.
Another plot,
You catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Now, Miss Sharon, who the heck wants flies? I thought it was you catch more bees with honey.
Well, no, you can catch the flies too. My mama said flies.
I can catch plenty of flies with what they're shoveling down to the Cumberland County GOP.
But see,
I can say that right now.
If she would have been kind and working together as a team, you mean to tell me I am 3 minutes late? Which I don't really believe that, but anywho, I'm 3 minutes late, and I come to you in a humble way and said, you know what? I had so much going on. I know it was my responsibility to get you this list in a timely manner, but unfortunately I used the wrong format. Can you please allow me to submit you this list or this list? But because I done fussed you out, showed my tail, are you really going to be up to helping me out or to accommodate me?
It's not even really a nice tale. So let's be honest.
Oh my. But here's the deal. She had all this time to submit it. So here's my thing too. Okay. And I've said this in one of our previous videos. Like, I'm currently getting my master's right now, and the cutoff for my assignments is Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. I do not wait until Wednesday at 11:58 to submit my assignments, because you never know what's going to happen. My internet could go down. The website that we're using for school could go down. My file could corrupt. I mean, there's no telling. So I always try to make sure that I at least have everything ready to go by at least noon that day, if not before. We do a lot of team projects, so we have to wait on each other to approve and everything like that. But even then, we usually have our final draft ready to go by Tuesday night. So Wednesday, all we have to do is do a run over and submit it. So she knew all this time that she had that deadline for noon that Monday and waited to the very last minute to submit it. Now, there may be nice people at the Board of Elections. If it would have been me, I'd have been like, no, because you had all this time to do it. Now, if you'd have come to me and said, look, I've tried to submit this 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and I've been doing it since Thursday, maybe. But don't wait to the very last minute to submit a report and then show your ass.
So that brings me to another thing. Not only are you in school, Heather, but you've worked in corporate America, government service. You get what a hierarchy and deadlines look like.
Absolutely.
You're dealing with a chairwoman that I don't think has had an actual profession. I think, is she a substitute teacher? And I'm not, listen, look, everybody has their own story, whatever. They can't all be as handsome as me. I get it. But, you know, I got to say it, Heather. Come on, Sharon. But, you know, so I don't want to like get on her for not having had a really like serious career, but she doesn't have experience with being accountable.
Exactly. And the people around her, Peter, they are accommodating that.
Yeah,
and
they feed into it.
Listen, Peter, I love you, but if you're wrong, I'm gonna say, Peter, you know what? Now I may not do it in front of everybody, but I'm gonna call you.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a call tonight. I know. I'm totally ready for that call.
Okay, and I'm gonna say, Peter, you know what? You was wrong for that. Now I'm going to point out a problem, but I'm going to give you a solution to the problem. But for them
That's leadership. That's leadership.
Yes, but for them now to say, oh, it was only 3 minutes and they're not telling you the truth about this, you are enabling her to continue. How can you get better? Peter, how can you grow if I don't? Okay, well, maybe you didn't know you was doing wrong.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Until somebody pointed it out.
Okay. I completely agree with you, Sharon. I 100% agree with you. But also, too, she's in her 60s. Okay? In her 60s. You are a way grown woman. Like,
you're trying to say can't teach an old dog new tricks.
No, I'm not even saying that, because that's not true. I've known people that can. I guess what I'm trying to say is you need to take responsibility for your actions. If you don't know something, you don't know something. Okay? You don't know what you don't know. But it's not like it was we were growing up. We had to check out encyclopedias and, go through the Dewey Decimal System at the library to check out books. And, now you just click on your computer and hit Google and everything's right there in front of you. You didn't have to go search for it like we had to.
Well,
YouTube, watch a video.
Thank you.
Crazy. So,
that's it. And I hate to say
what
this.
Else we got?
I hate to say this, but it's kind of Biden-esque. It's like you put somebody in the seat of authority, but they're really just a talking head because they don't really know too much. And so all the decisions are being made behind the scenes and it's screwing everything up. Like Miss Sharon said, here's leadership. I teach leaders all the time. I travel teaching leaders. Leaders identify problems, or when they are confronted with a problem or bring a problem to the table, that problem is always accompanied with a solution.
Yes.
It may not be the final solution, but at least an idea is brought with that says, hey, this is the issue. Here's how I propose we address it, and then we deal with it from there. And then we get a consensus from the others in the room and at the table. That's why you can't be the only person sitting at the table, because you're bound to screw it up. You got to be willing to have other seats available at the table. And you got to be willing to not attempt to look like the smartest person at the table. When I was on TV and radio and and running all over the country, speaking all over the place. I remember somebody asked me one day, I believe I was in South Carolina, and a lady came up to me and she said, Bishop, let me ask you a question. She said, I know that you have a church, you pastor full time. She said, but you're on the radio, you're on TV, you're traveling all over the country, you're everywhere I go, I see you. She said, how do you do it? You know what I said there? I said, it's the team around me that makes me look good. It's the people around me. It's not me. It's the people around me that are at that table and in those rooms. Hey, Bishop, don't forget, you got to be here. And I'm sitting there running my mouth, and one of my administrators walk up and say, Bishop is loving this conversation, but he got to go. When I have things that got to be submitted when I got stuff that got to be submitted to my presiding bishop, I got an administrator that's sitting there saying, Bishop, we got to get these reports in because Bishop is coming next week and he needs the finance reports. So you got to have people around you, and you have to trust the people around you, and you have to be willing to humble yourself enough.
Humble yourself.
To humble yourself enough to know that you don't know it all. And I'm the type of person, I talk and holler and all the rest of that stuff. But let me tell you what I keep around me. People who are smarter than me. I stay around people who are smarter than me. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get. Don't go there, Heather. That's what you get. Because I thought you ain't about to say, because Peter is not smarter than me.
I wasn't going to say that. I was
I'm
going
not tall. I don't think I might. Am I taller than you, or are you taller than me? I don't know.
No, you're a little bit taller than me, but I stay around Pastor Josh because he's smarter than me.
So, Heather, what you got?
Okay, so I had leadership experience in high school through ROTC, but it wasn't until after college, and I started my first real job was managing a restaurant, and I was away from home. I was like 2 hours away from home, and I'm wet behind the ears. 22, 23 years old, maybe 24, I don't remember. And I'm in a management position, and I'm literally managing college students and high school students, and I'm not much older than they are. I've gone through the training, and and I had gone out like the night before drinking with some other colleagues and some friends, and I got toasty, and I was hungover the next day, and I had to open that morning, and it was early. And so I decided I was going to slip away and try to sleep in a booth real quick, try to sleep some of it off before the day began. And of course, my employees ratted on me. They told on me. And rather than me get upset and accuse them of that, I took that experience and made sure I never did it again. But it also made me a better manager because I didn't know what I was doing. I made a big mistake. It wasn't it wasn't a good look, especially for others who may have been aspiring to do it. And I could have put the blame and sat there and said, oh, well, I didn't know. I was young. I was this. I was that. No, I took responsibility and said, you're absolutely right. I screwed up and made sure I never did it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's like, how can we move forward from this? Because to new people, this is exhausting. It's like you have to know, who am I supposed to hate? There's all these different tribes. And then if you don't hate the right person,
hate anybody, Joy.
No, I think, Joy, the way we move forward, and step one is Saturday, replace the board. That's how you start that process. And then I don't know if this happened because I've never been on the GOP board or anything like that. But if it doesn't happen, I think it needs to happen. I know it happens when you run for like city council and county commissioner and you win. There is a learning curve. There is a period of time. There's classes that you need to go through, there's some things you need to seriously learn before you can fully step into that position.
But if I remember correctly, they do, because I think both Bree and Jackie had to go through some kind of training. And
did Nina go through the training is the question.
I don't know. She should have gone through the training because they do have like chair training they're supposed to go through. But Peter made a point the other day when we were talking that one thing that the GOP needs is they need a bookkeeper. They need to pay somebody to be able to handle, because having these treasurers go through this campaign finance class, I'm not saying every treasurer is bad. We have an amazing treasurer with Sharon. Dwayne was an amazing treasurer. And that first lady, I can't remember her name to save my life. She still didn't really know what she was doing, but she still reached out to Bree. And, had we had somebody on the books that, we approved through the executive committee to pay them to be able to do the books, there would be that oversight, and then we probably wouldn't be the mess that we're in right now.
Well,
So I want to say something about the training. So I did, I'm not going to name drop, but I spoke to the NCGOP yesterday. And I said, one of the reasons that I think we have problems here, and I'm seeing this problem also with like the Greater Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce, it was a concern. And I'm the chairman of the Government Relations Committee at the Chamber of Commerce. So every month we meet. I have normally representatives from our House of Representatives. I have a senatorial employee that works for like Tillis or somebody else in the room, as well as local and state officials. But one of the things I was concerned with was what's called succession planning. How do we keep the good times rolling? How do we build a bench of knowledgeable people? I think I referenced to Linda DeVore, and I said, she's been around a long time, and we're all going to be wrong from now and then. But like Linda DeVore is like the godmother of the Republican Party. Like she knows her plan of organization frontwards and backwards. And so she's that bench strength we don't want to lose. But how do we build more succession? So the way our board's set up is that the immediate past chair is supposed to be available as a resource for the current chair. So Bree Eldridge had to resign because of Nina's vitriol. But we have to work on building our leaders up. We have to work on them being open-minded to take the training. So as part of the Chamber's mission this year as government relations, we will be holding a candidates academy because City Council is up for election this year. They will file in July. So at the Chamber of Commerce, we will be having a candidates academy. It's a Saturday. We're going to bring everybody in, and we're going to have different speakers on different parts of our society here in Cumberland County to teach them what they need to know about running for office. Now, how much you want to bet some of the people running for office, they're not going to want to come to this. They're close-minded to the reality of running for office. And the Longleaf Pines Realtors are going to have a candidates academy about 3 weeks before us, and that's going to be dealing with how you run a campaign. So the realtors are going to hold how you run a campaign. Chamber of Commerce is going to run this is all the stuff you should know running for office and how these things work together. Because we need some succession, not only with our electeds, but with our GOP board of directors.
I don't know about you, but I would have loved to have had that when I ran for office.
Yeah, well, and that was a concern I had with our chamber CEO. How do we build this? Even for my committee, the government relations, I'm only going to be there for a year as the chairman. How do I get all these good things going and then have it succeed to someone else? So I'm doing that planning. I've spoken to NCGOP. How do we build that in our parties outside of just having the one past chair on the next board that can get basically, in Bree's case, treated so poorly that she says, it's just not worth it. And she quit. She had to.
And another thing too, that it was just absolutely despicable was them actually putting her personal phone number up for everybody to see.
You mean doxing? Yeah, that doxing is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the
That's crazy.
I've been fortunate enough, maybe I haven't gone to the page as often to get blocked. But how is it that I'm a Republican and I'm being blocked from my own GOP page?
Well, what did Carol just say? She knows everything and will listen to no one.
Wow.
She's
And there lies the problem.
The all-knowing Karnak the magician.
Lord help us. Republicans, you need to show up Saturday and let God show out.
Please,
make
Lord,
your
yes.
voices known and heard.
Absolutely. If you know a
loud and
Republican,
clear.
bring them out. If you know somebody that is registered as a Republican, bring them out. And if they ain't got the $10, Peter, pay it for them.
Oh, thanks a lot.
You're
I'll tell you
welcome.
what. Well, I'll bring 20. I'll pay it forward for one person. That's up to you. Keep it
Oh my
rolling.
goodness.
How about that? Maybe 20 or 30. I'll bring some extra. I got some extra
I'll do the
cash
same
money,
thing.
Bishop.
I'll
All right.
match you. I'll match
All right.
you.
We'll pay it forward.
There you go.
We certainly don't want people not to come because of $10. And the $10 doesn't really go that far. I think it'll cover the donuts that morning. Because we do buy the best. We buy Duck Donuts. So, little shout out to them. But anyway, so who's not coming to the convention Saturday?
Joy, what you drinking?
Chocolate chai.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, did you spike that thing? You sure? It's getting kind of late.
Maybe.
It's cocktail hour. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, all right, y'all. So let's wrap it up here. Closing remark. And hey, Michelle, we see you. We see you. Hey, y'all.
What's up, cuz?
That's your girl. That's cuz. So what do we want to round up for? Final thoughts, anybody? Boy, does that sound like Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
Just make sure you come out. This is a real life Jerry Springer, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's noticed, some of the crazies, so.
Well, I just don't want the hate to grow, and I don't want the judgment. I mean, I heard on that whatever that was last night, maybe. Now there's a private group, the Venus and Callista or whatever, have a private group going, and I mean, from what I took away is they're against gays. I mean, come on, it's 2025, and
Joy, everything above board happens in private. Obviously, they need a private group to smell their own farts and say how good it smells, like potpourri.
That's their skiff.
I thought the gays or the blacks or the what was it? What was the other ones they said?
Yeah, they refer to a group of people as the blacks.
Yeah,
What?
I'm serious. I am serious.
Yeah. That was okay. Just for anybody watching, if you want to go watch that 2-hour snuff film that was put out yesterday, if you go to 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 20 seconds, you'll hear basically them exclaim, "Those blacks," or the blacks. It's not very.
I think it was the
blacks. Yeah, I have the notes here from Joy. Did an excellent job of indexing this.
I was in shock.
Well, there was another point. My favorite was when they talked about former campaign manager Nero, who he looks like Mr. T with silver chains. Nero's an awesome guy. I love.
Yeah, I like Nero.
You know who I'm talking about, Bishop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing about it. They mentioned that we even had a black campaign manager regarding Mr. De La Cruz's campaign, but then Mrs. De La Cruz goes on to say, well, he's a friend of ours. And Joy and I are watching, and then it turns out, but I can't remember his name, Venus says. So he's a friend, but can't remember his name.
Can't remember his name.
What is he, token? I just, the number one.
It was an attempt.
Call,
it was an attempt to get the black vote.
Right.
Because as Freddie said before, he got the black vote locked down.
Oh yeah.
And so he used a black and again I like Nero. When I ran the men's shelter for Operation Inasmuch, he'd come over there and volunteer, serve breakfast and everything. Yes. And but they used him as a campaign manager to try to. It's kind of like saying I got like they say he's a friend of mine. I got black friends. So I can't possibly be racist because we had a black campaign manager. Come on,
Bishop,
really?
they all look alike, so they couldn't keep it straight which of their friends was Nero. And again, I think I talked to you either online or offline about this. Isn't the clarion call of "I'm not a racist" from a racist mouth? I have a lot of XYZ friends.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, when they're trying to defend their lack of just optics of this city, that not everybody looks like you, bro, and you don't have to be butthurt about it. But so just in case you want to look, it's 41 minutes 25 seconds. Nero was a friend but didn't know his name. There's just so much. They attacked Simone Pemberton, a wonderful conservative black female.
Good night, Miss Carol. Good night.
Good night, Miss Carol. They attacked Simone Pemberton at 43 minutes in. But they're okay with Pavan Patel, so I guess he's not as brown. So
they were putting out Pavan,
43
Tyson, Devier sign combos and not putting out Peter's signs. out there. And
Yeah.
what is it, Overton or whatever it's called up east?
Yeah, good Republicans. I'm on the slate. I'm the number 2 vote getter in the Republican
There were
primary.
literally a sandwich, just 3 right by each other in a line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Listen,
Put out by the same people.
And my name is
I'm going to say this right now. I lost my race by 0.08%, 179 votes against 37,000 votes cast for me. Okay? The only person, if I had a recount, that it would have kicked out would have been Henry Tyson. I'm very proud of the boys that won, Pavan Patel and Henry. They're doing a hell of a job. You saw yesterday that they came out and Kirk Deviere and them, they all have suspended the event center building right now, which I'm a little miffed at because I am on that Civic Center Commission and I'm ready to learn more. But, you know, they are hitting the ground running and really exposing. In the words of one of them, I won't say who, but I said, how's it going? And they said, it's like peeling back the layers of an effing onion. And I haven't heard that man cuss in a long time. But they are undoing a lot. They're doging our own county right now. But let's see what else good. And what I will say to that is none of the people that want to run their mouths for me had anything to do, and my wins or losses are not attributed to them. They're not smart enough to have contributed to my loss or to my success. I will get up and do the work despite them.
Yeah.
No matter what they want to say, do, and all, I've been working in my community. I continue to work in my community. Bishop, you've been working in your community, Operation Inasmuch, and all that thankless work you put in down there. Joy, I know you help out where you can. I know Heather does a lot of volunteer stuff. She's got all kinds of jobs, but none of them pay right now. We got to switch that around for you. You know, I mean, Heather, you're a guardian ad litem. You help for rape crisis. You do all kinds of stuff.
Well, not yet. I will be a guardian ad litem next week.
Okay. But
she'll be on my team.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When she told me, she's like, I got a job. I'm like, sweet. I said, does it pay? No. Damn it.
I said I have you, not a job.
But that's whatever. But the thing is, you're involved. You worked your butt off on my campaign. You worked your butt off on Simone's campaign. You know, crossing those lines, being attacked by our own party for being a conciliator.
I was campaigning for Elon Musk's group because they wouldn't let me on the app here.
Right.
I was like, forget it. I'll just go do it another way, and I got paid to do it. $20 an hour.
Me and Joy were working for the same.
Elon didn't care. Yeah, we were. And it was hard work too. I mean, it was dangerous work actually. Elon didn't care.
Yep.
Well, and going around the room here, Miss Sharon, you supported us all from the office here with what you did, keeping us straight with finance, keeping us just being somebody good to talk to and motivate and encourage everybody to work together. You had such an amazing role.
Look, I call what you call that app? The Sidekick.
Yeah.
I was sidekicking for Mark Robinson, sidekicking for Donald Trump. What? And I met a lot of lovely people. Yes, but we do what we can, Peter. Yeah,
I know. Well, we all have our roles, but you know, I'm on the 2 boards and commissions. I've got the Chamber of Commerce thing now. I'm on the board there and the Government Relations Committee chairman, and I have the weekly radio show. That's my extracurriculars right there.
And why aren't they taking advantage of the exposure on this radio show to grow our party? Like seriously, it's dumb.
Well, now, so what we're doing tonight is not the radio show, but Bishop is a regular guest on he's a regular host on the Carolina Cabinet. So is so I'm the main. Then I've got Bishop. I've got Pastor Josh most weeks. I have either Shamika or Simone. We have sensible folks to come in and discuss. And it's not all about bashing GOP. A lot of it is community focused. We're going to have United Way on soon and talk about their fundraiser about jumping over the edge or something. They're going to have people rappelling down buildings during the Dogwood Festival. But
I'm going to just tell you right now, ain't going to be too many black folk doing that rappelling thing because we don't do hanging from ropes. We're not going to voluntarily hang from nothing. I'm just going to let you know right now. That's just not what we going to do. You know, you're going to have to trick us.
Yeah. Somebody go get Bishop.
I'm just saying. Look,
Somebody
even
pull up.
Miss Sharon shaking her head. No, sir, no, ma'am. We have had.
Well,
let me tell you
I'm
something.
just afraid of heights. You brought the rope into this
Let
damn
me
thing.
tell you. Let me tell you
Oh, my
something. It
Lord.
was a couple of years ago. I forget what year it was, but they had a cruise going from New York City. They were looking for young black men that they wanted to put on a cruise for free and let them go and take them on a cruise to Africa. And they reached out to me, asked me, did I want to go? Oh, heck no. Last time my people got on a boat, we didn't come back. No, no, ma'am. We don't do that. No.
You weren't falling for that one.
No, I wasn't falling for that. I said, I know what y'all trying to do. Y'all figure y'all done with us now. Y'all gonna send us back for free. No, sir, no, ma'am. I will respectfully decline.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not
Don't
going.
nobody say we don't have a good time in this group. I'll tell you that right now. Oh my God.
Some people reach out to me about, do you want to go on a cruise? It's free. We looking for young black men to go on a cruise to Africa. I said, Africa? Last time Africa and America had a free cruise, we didn't come back. So nope, you won't set me up, but okay, no. I'll stay here. I'll be calling Peter from K-Town. It's about Peter. They done got me over here. I can't get home.
I get you a one-way ticket back, Bishop. No, we'll get you back. Don't you worry, brother.
Guess who wasn't on that boat? Me.
Yeah.
Me. Because
I got a passport.
No.
I got a birth certificate.
Exactly. I'm a citizen. I was born here. Listen, I ain't going. And don't call nobody in my family. They ain't going either.
Mhm. Oh my God.
I speak on behalf of my whole family. No.
We have covered, guys, ladies, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all. We have had a hell of a time on here tonight. I really appreciate you taking time out of y'all's evening. Now, you know darn well it's on the internet, so it's going to live forever.
Yes.
But God bless the people that are watching. God bless the people that are our detractors or have something to say. We want to see this county move forward no matter what.
Absolutely.
I want to see it go through purple and get to red if that's possible. But I'm going to be very happy to just see working with other people and making it a safe place for people of color to come and call the GOP home.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, y'all, love you to death. Good seeing you. Have a good night.
All right. Love you.
Good night,
Yes.
everyone.
Good night.